Democrats, shut the hell up, get your asses in line, and focus on winning.
Well, that escalated quickly. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting super fortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program, yes, I promised you that I would be following up on this, and I touched on it a little bit before. There was a whole lot that was going on, but tonight we gonna have a little bit of a slow roast in here, and of course, the gift that keeps on giving, Bowling Ball Martin. Boy, I'm telling you, look, there's an old saying that adversity doesn't corrupt character, it reveals it, and you know, just adversity shows what you're really made of, and it reveals to the world what you really are at heart is what it does. And right now, the Democratic Party in particular, and their bootlick media in specific, boy, they feeling the heat, they're feeling the pressure, and adversity is simply revealing who and what they are, and it's everything that I've always been telling you it was there. Everything I've been telling you was. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to start with something a little bit different. And by the way, before I even get started here tonight, fair use, Roland. It's going to be fair use all over your ass tonight. Fair use, Roland. Roland Martin went and talked to General Onray. Now, for those of you who either don't remember or you were too young and you weren't born, General Onray in 2005, when the levees broke in New Orleans because of Hurricane Katrina, states in disarray, George W. Bush is out to lunch perpetually. They brought in the National Guard, and General Onray, they brought in the National Guard and the Army and everything else. And General Onray was basically put in charge down there in New Orleans. So here we are, 2 decades later, and General Onray is still out there, alive, if not exactly kicking. But he's got a few things to say here. Roland apparently found his phone number somewhere in mothballs, so we went and go get General Onray. And General Onray has had some choice words and choice comments to make here. Boy, I'm telling you. He's had some choice comments to make, and what I want to do is I want to play for you some of what he said when he talked to Roland. By the way, once again here, in case you forgot, by the way, Roland, fair use for you here as well. Please don't ask me about the tongue thing. It's just, I don't know, it's all these old folk out here, they get out here, they're doing their thing, and away they go. But here is General Onray talking about basically Biden after the debates and what should be done.
The lives of the convicted criminal, they beat their own guy up. And I wish James Carville allowed the convicted felon that's running for the White House to spend an hour and a half spewing lies. I don't think he said one thing that was true. As opposed to the Democrats circle the wagon and focus on the lies of the convicted criminal, they beat their own guy up. And I wish James Carville and that Obama crowd and that Clinton crowd that get all the time on television, shut the hell up. If you're not going to support Biden, shut the hell up. Attack the other guy.
Oh, I'm going to say it. Oh, I'm definitely going to say it. You got to watch out for these old niggas. What? Oh, I'm gonna say it. I'm definitely gonna say it. You got to watch out for these old niggas. You got to watch out for them. Boy, you leave them by themselves for a little while. Let them sit out there and leave them by themselves for a little bit. Gray hairs start coming in. And boy, I'm telling you, it's just they start reverting across the board. So, folks, you thought we were gonna get away from it. Oh, Jason, is you really gonna say that? He was down in Louisiana. No, he got to catch this fade. No, you got to watch out for these old niggas. Got to. And he's showing you exactly why it is that you will be required to do so. Now, I want to play this and let you all hear what he had to say here, because he actually goes into another part here which actually dovetails right off of what I just said.
And focus on the lives of the convicted criminal that beat their own guy up. And I wish James Carville and that Obama crowd and that Clinton crowd that get all the time on television, shut the hell up. If you're not going to support Biden, shut the hell up. Attack the other guy. If you can't say nothing good, shut the hell up and focus on the other guy. That's what we got to do and get the vote out, because we got to get the young people excited about coming out to vote.
What? We got to get the young people excited about coming out to vote. General Onray. 4 years ago, Bowling Ball Martin was telling us all that we didn't have to worry. With all y'all young folk talking about not voting, well, don't worry. It's going to be all the old folks who going to shore that up. All of them are going to be taking care of that. So, you sitting there on the program with the fellow who said it don't matter what the young folk do. The old folks going to. Biden just need the old people. Biden don't need y'all young folk. He gonna get the old people to do that. Okay. By the way, General Onray, yeah, you might want to think that over a little bit. But by the way, y'all, it gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse. It actually does get worse.
Obama crowd and that Clinton crowd that get all the time on television, shut the hell up. If you're not going to support Biden, shut the hell up. Attack the other guy. If you can't say nothing good, shut the hell up and focus on the other guy. That's what we got to do and get the vote out, because we got to get the young people excited about coming out to vote. The young people can save the democracy in the United States, and that's what we need to be talking about.
Now, General, I've never served in the military because I don't do well taking orders.
No. You've never served in the military because you can't get to a healthy BMI. Damn! No. Let's not say that right there. And I ain't served in the military because I'm not good at taking orders. Yeah, but apparently you think you're excellent at giving them. Never mind the fact that if you were a military commander, you would be the most disgraced, failed one in the history of armed conflict, or in your case, armed consumption. But regardless of any of that, I just wanted to go ahead and make that observation, is that Roland is actually very much mistaken about why he never had a military career. It's no. It's not the intellectual requirements there. It's more the physical. Could y'all imagine Roland making it through the physical? Oh, could y'all imagine Roland making it through boot camp? Anywhere. Oh, I feel sorry for the drill sergeant standing over him. Y'all gonna be out there from can't see in the morning till can't see at night. You're going to have to knock about 100 pounds off of him before he can even do the push-ups. So it's going to be terrible. Everybody else has to jog and whatnot. Can y'all just let him walk for a little while? Okay. Yeah, can y'all let him walk for a little bit? As a matter of fact, just let him keep walking around the damn base. Just you keep walking around the base until you get into a condition we can use you for. So that's basically what's going on there. So Roland is trying to shore this thing up. He's doing his best there. And of course, he's going to regale us all with his precious wisdom. He's going to regale us all with his precious wisdom. However, I wish I could tell you that was all that happened, but it isn't, because something else happened during this interview. And as the anchor man of the New Black Media, it is incumbent on me to bring this to your attention. because I don't know who you all thought General Onray was before now. I don't know what you thought his views were before now, or, where he stood on things before now. But folks, stick around. That train's never late. This is General Onray apparently whipping us all into shape and what he's got to say.
Trusted again with the leadership of this country, and people got to get off the AZZ and go vote. And that's the banner we need to be talking, Roland. Get off your AZZ and go vote. You can't sit around and say, I didn't get what I wanted the last time. I ain't watching the election. I ain't going to vote for an old guy. Well, guess what? You will end up in a situation where a lot of black and brown people will be sent out of this country on day one. And there will be nothing, no progress for the people of color.
What? You see, I review these things so that you all don't have to. I review these things and go over this people's stuff, and I review their paperwork so you all don't have to. And that's why I wanted to play that video there for you all so you can see. It's not just a still picture. You can see it for yourselves. That's what he had to say. I go off and go get the facts and the insight and analysis and bring the invoices that no one else will so that you all don't have to. He's on a black platform talking like that. I don't know, Roland's black in quotations, but yeah, you see who he talking to, and you see where his focus is. And I wanted to make sure you got that. Wanted to make sure you heard that and understood that. So he doubled down on it. He didn't just say that, move on. Why, he doubled down on that. He made sure you understood exactly who he was referring to. So, yeah. Yeah, I just thought I would go ahead and point that out. Just in case you thought we weren't on top of our game. I want to go ahead and point that out. I'm like, okay, that sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. And then one more here for the road.
Well, just please repeat to all our Gen Z young people that's going to be voting for the first time. Please get out the vote. Take somebody with you. Double your impact. We can defeat this criminal and keep him out of the White House because he will destroy this country. He's already got a plan to do it, 2025 plan, and it will destroy this country.
Well, I'll give you a...
So now they want the young people to vote. Now they're focused on that. When they thought that they could ignore us, when they thought that they could neglect us, well, you saw what they were saying then. But now the attitude has begun to change. Now we here in the new black media have been talking to Generation Z before Generation Z was even viable. We've been talking to them the entire time, and we continue to speak to them this very day. These other folks do not understand them. They don't have an inlet to them. They don't understand what they're dealing with. And as you can see, their only way of really talking to you isn't to actually talk to you. Their idea of talking to you is to talk down to you.
Of this country, and people got to get off the AZZ and go vote. And that's the banner we need to be talking.
Yeah, interesting. That all sounds very familiar.
Democrats, shut the hell up, get your asses in line, and focus on winning.
Okay. Yeah, when they're sitting among black folk, that's the way they say things. When they're among white folk, they don't really sit up here and snap off at them like that. They don't sit up here and address them white folk like that. They come over here with us, and they don't even have the decency to come to us with hat in hand. Why, if you didn't know better, you would swear that this isn't about what they're going to do for us. This is about what they expect us to do for them. That we owe them something. That they are doing us a favor. why they're not just a favor, why they're doing us a charity. And that they are doing us the charity of allowing them to let us vote for them. As opposed to coming to us and saying, you know, you were really motivated in the Obama years and things have been going downhill ever since. Can we discuss with you exactly what's gone wrong? Because folks, remember, they've known about our discontent now at least since 2012. They definitely knew it in 2016. Damn sure aware of it in 2020. And yet, have they come to us yet? Wearing the hair shirt, on their P's and Q's, eating some humble pie with hat in hand. Hello, good sirs and ladies. We would like to appeal to you for your vote. We couldn't help but notice that we haven't seen you lately here. We understand there are some problems. We would like to discuss that. They don't give us the APAC treatment. We don't get that. They come to us with the you niggas get up and vote. Shut up, get up and vote treatment. That's how they talking to us. And a lot of you might have thought that I was exaggerating with the title of tonight's program. Nope, that's what he said. They're telling us shut the hell up and vote. With General Onray doubling down on that. He don't want to hear what your problem is. He don't give a damn what you ain't gotten. That don't matter to him. So General Onray and the old niggas out there, I want to play this again, and then I want to show you the error of your ways.
The AZZ and go vote. And that's the banner we need to be talking, Roland. Get off your AZZ and go vote. You can't sit around and say, I didn't get what I wanted the last time. I ain't watching the election. I ain't going to vote for an old guy. Well, guess what? You will end up in a situation where a lot of black and brown people will be sent out of this country on day one. And there will be nothing, no progress for the people of color.
Let's deal with a couple of misnomers here, General Onray. First of all, sir, I am not being disrespectful when I say you got to watch out for these old niggas. I'm not being disrespectful when I say that. And I'll explain to you why. You see, it's very easy for you to sit there at your advanced age. You know, back when the dollar was worth twice as much as it is now. And you could float through the military-industrial complex. And you could buy a brand new house for $100,000. And you still had a manufacturing base. And you were not competing with them bringing Indians and Asians over here by the plane load, truckload, boatload to fight over your jobs. It's very easy for you to say that now that you've exited the workforce. You weren't competing against any of these people, driving wages down, driving opportunities down, driving housing stock down, but housing values up. You didn't have any of that going on. You old and wrinkled and living on easy street. You old and wrinkled and wore out like a potato sack, living on easy street, looking at the real folks doing the real work today and telling them that they need to sacrifice some more. They need to shut up some more. It's easy for your ass to say. You already sucked up and leached all the damn benefits. You already got yours. It's always some old nigga out here who got his. Talking to the young folk, telling them what they need to do. And it's never about what they can do to get ahead. It's always about whatever you ain't got, oh well, just shut up and roll with the program. Is that because that benefits us? Or is that because that benefits you? General Onray. You sitting there in front of your house. I don't know if it's some side hoes or some side babies. I'm not gonna cast aspersions. But what I will say is that your road was a hell of a lot easier than these young folk got coming up out here today. what your reward for 10 hours of work is a whole lot different from what they get in the day. And what it costs you is a whole lot less than what it costs them. Now you sitting there retired, they paying the damn tax dollars that are paying your retirement. You should be grateful to them. You need to be coming to them, and you need to be listening to them and saying, hey, where have we messed up at? That ain't what he's saying. He's talking about how great a job they done did and what he doesn't want to hear from you. Now, there's the ultimate gesture of disrespect. You're the one catching hell out here. You're the one carrying the freight out here. You're the one financing his retirement out here. And he's telling you about what he doesn't want to hear from you. He's not coming to you and saying, hey, let's talk and discuss this and chop this up so we can go ahead and get y'all on the team. He's telling you about what he don't want to hear from you. So you just need to shut up and vote. Never mind the fact that you're not happy with the results of the last time you followed that advice. And so he wants you to double down on something that A, you're already unhappy with, but B, didn't work the first time. Well, it didn't work for you. It's worked out just fine for him. You got to understand, General Onray's perspective of the status quo is radically different from yours. That's why I warn y'all, you can be some ass-kissing zombie sitting up here following their instructions if you want to, but these old niggas got theirs. They got their house. You trying to figure out how to get one in the most expensive real estate market in the history of America. You trying to figure out how to get yours. He got his. He done had a grip for a minute. You trying to figure out how you gonna get yours. Now he's retired. It doesn't even require labor from him anymore. But he's here telling you what you don't need. You don't need to ask any, how the hell, now you doing all the damn work and you're putting in all the damn effort, but he's telling you about what you don't need to ask any questions about. Well, that doesn't sound like service. That sounds like servitude. That sounds like slavery. If you're doing the damn work, you damn right you got a right to ask some questions. Your vote should come with requirements. You already gave away your vote for nothing. Now he's saying, oh, well, come back and do it again because the alternative is worse. Actually, no, the alternative looks about equal to me. Neither one of you has a compelling argument to get me to get up or help either one of you. And that is your primary responsibility as a politician and a political party, is to make it where it's a no-brainer that I get up and I go vote for you. It's supposed to be a no-brainer. You are supposed to be skilled politicians, experts. Y'all spend billions of dollars a year on this mass social manipulation, why it should be a cakewalk for you to be able to get us to show up and vote for you. This is what you do for a damn living. And yet, you're not giving us any reason to come vote for you. You're just telling us what we owe you. What we owe you. Not about what you gonna do for us. Not a word from him what you gonna do for us. Well, Donald Trump gonna destroy the country. Have you seen what Joe Biden did to black men? Damn! Destroy the country. Have you seen what they've done with all them illegal aliens they've let in? You know, the black and brown folk there, General Onery. Have you seen what they've done with that? Of course he has. He's seen it. And he doesn't give a damn. He got his. See, here's the problem when you're dealing with old niggas. I told you about this before. This is why those of you who are younger, you need to understand that this is the reality of their psychology and their mindset. The psychology of their mindset is they don't give a damn who's pushing the shopping carts at Walmart. They don't give a damn who's working the prescription drugs window and the pharmacy window at Walgreens. They don't give a damn who's building the freeways, who's building the schools, who's driving the 18-wheelers, and they don't care what housing values are today. They're not paying or dealing with any of that stuff. All they care about is, did they get their prescription? Is there somebody to make the beds at the hotel? Is there somebody to work on their car? They don't care who it is, and they don't care what you lose in the process. That's your ass. Whatever you got to do without, you just got to do without that. He ain't got time to worry about what you don't have and what you're not going to get. That's your problem. That's your problem. You gonna have to deal with that. So that's why you don't hear them speaking about any of your issues. They sitting up here talking about prescription drugs and old folks stuff. Not what the hell you dealing with. Not with the fact that, by the way, hey, what did you old niggas do to neglect the landscape and make sure that we're paying 3 times much for our house as you are? What did you do that we should be listening to you or following you? And he's not bringing you anything. He's not doing anything. That's what I want you all to understand when some old nigga roll up to you and he's not talking directly to your issues and how it's going to be addressed. What he's telling you is, hey, little bastard, I got mine. I got mine. Who gives a damn if you don't get yours? Hurry up, shut the hell up, get your AZZ ass to the polls and come vote for my prescription pills and my retirement and my pension and my housing values. Come vote for that. While you got a whole different set of problems and he ain't saying a damn syllable to address those. No, take a look at him. He's sitting in front of his. He's not saying a word about how the hell you gonna get yours. He's sitting in front of his and the stuff is minimizing illegal aliens here, and they ain't gonna ship no black folk out this country who are citizens. We gonna be just fine. Who the hell is he talking about gonna get put out the country? I know his light, bright, damn near white ass ain't worried about it while he's sitting up here trying to sell wolf tickets. While he's trying to sell smoke and mirrors. He knows damn well they ain't gonna do a damn thing to us that they haven't already done. We're not eligible for deportation. We fought that fight 160 years ago. We're not eligible for deportation. We good. So who is he standing up for? He ain't standing up for us. That little line he threw out there, that's not for us. So who is he standing up for? And I'm letting y'all know, he don't give a damn who the landscapers are. He'll sit down there in New Orleans, watch black folk losing every damn thing he got is. He doesn't care who the landscapers are. He doesn't care who the roofers are. He doesn't care who the nurses are. He doesn't care who's building the freeways. He doesn't care who's tearing them down. He doesn't care who's building the infrastructure and who isn't. He doesn't care what you got or what you don't get. He got his. Now he's voting for the maintenance of what he got, not the building of what you need to have. So he doesn't care about the illegals. That's, as far as he's concerned, that's your problem. So long as there's somebody there to take care of that, and he's already shown you, well, I better look out for the illegals because I need somebody to go ahead and make the beds at the hotel. These niggas are so rickety. He's sitting there with his tongue on his lips the whole damn time. Him and Biden looking like damn Siamese twins. What? I'm sitting here talking to the young folk. I'm talking to the people who are out here in the trenches. I'm talking to the folks out here who are catching flack and fire every damn day. I'm talking to the people here who have watched this New York City cost $5,000 a month to live in Manhattan. I'm watching as those of you in California, there's no place you can live in California if you don't make $21 an hour. in Los Angeles. There's nowhere you can live in Los Angeles if you don't make $21 an hour. Coming to a city near you. I'm sitting here talking to y'all. I'm sitting here looking at the environment that you're in with nobody looking out for you. Nobody. Used to be there was a safe place to be. There ain't no damn safe place to go anymore. I just did a story. I just showed y'all the video here from a couple of days ago. Detroit, most overvalued real estate in America. Detroit. Fox Local, most overvalued real estate in America. Not Atlanta. Detroit just leapfrogged Atlanta. Atlanta was number one. Here comes Detroit. They knocked Atlanta off. Detroit. While they sitting up here telling you what you don't need. While they sitting up here telling you about look out for the illegals. Don't worry, it's not hurting you. No, it's not hurting his old ass. And he gives no damns what you ain't getting. It's not hurting him. He is terminally out of touch with the environment. He's out of touch. He don't get it. Because he doesn't want to get it. He got his. Long as he getting his, he gives no damns what you don't ever see. So it's easy for him to dismiss the challenges you going through and talk about what he doesn't want to hear. None of the things that he said were a problem for him. That's why it's easy for him to say what he don't want to hear is that we give a damn what he doesn't want to hear because they're not his problems.
Entrusted again with the leadership of this country, and people got to get off the AZZ and go vote. And that's the banner we need to be talking, Roland. Get off your AZZ and go vote. You can't sit around and say, I didn't get what I wanted the last time. I ain't watching the election. I ain't going to vote for an old guy. Well, guess what? You
can't say that you didn't get what you wanted the last time. Don't you mean the last 10 times, nigga? We didn't get what we wanted the last time. We've never gotten it. And he's saying, go vote some more. You can't say you didn't get what you wanted last time. Very interesting, because the whole reason that he's so enthusiastic is because this old crippled bastard got his. While he telling you, don't worry that you ain't got yours. He got his. He's not saying that we didn't get ours. He's saying if you didn't get yours, because he got his. So he can be real damn dismissive about you. He got his. He's on a whole damn different planet from the rest of us in that regard. He don't care what you ain't got. And he's just outright letting you know, I don't care what you don't have. That's your ass. Get up and come vote for my benefits. Who cares what benefits you didn't get? Get up and come vote for mine. Come vote for mine. They don't talk to us like we're dumb. They talk to us like we're out of our minds crazy. But it goes further than that. So Bolenbaum Martin is sitting up there talking to his esteemed panel of flunkies and lackeys. And they're talking about the post-debate and how Biden did terrible at it. They're talking about that, and yes, I know he did the interview with George Stephanopoulos. That hasn't really moved the needle except to show he's still conscious. So it's not, Joe, you ain't gonna move things substantively until you talk without a teleprompter, without an interview, till you take some questions from the media and the rest of the world. Till you do that, and it ain't gonna work. Just like Sarah Palin needed to do a rematch with Katie Couric. The road to the White House went through Katie Couric and Charles Gibson. She refused to have that rematch. Okay, well, this ain't gonna work for Joe till he does a rematch on that. It ain't gonna happen. So Bolenbaum Martin is out there, and he's saying his usual personal brand of idiocy in that regard. So he's got a lot to say there, and he's trying to cheer up the troops to the best of his ability. At least he's trying to.
He turned things around in the next debate and won the election in a landslide. This is real simple, Michael. Democrats, shut the hell up, get your asses in line, and focus on winning.
Absolutely, and back up and surround and support and block for and defend your candidate. This is what I was just saying. This reminds me during the 2020 presidential campaign, and you had one of the debates. You had 12 people for the Democrats, 12 people on stage, and they were attacking policies from the Obama-Biden administration, acting like they were Republicans. Oh, what the hell are you doing? But the other thing, when we look at Joe Biden's history, Joe Biden really has never been a good debater, but he's good at retail politics. Okay, Joe Biden there in Raleigh, North Carolina, that's the Joe Biden retail politics. He needs to do a lot more of that. Okay, do at least two of those a week, especially during the summer. And I would say the next debate is September 10th. The day before that debate, he needs to do one of those rallies also and feed off that energy, allow that momentum to take him into the debate.
He talking like Joe Biden is 21 and not 81. Build on momentum. Michael, these people are just out of touch with facts, reality, physics, biology.
But goddamn, do you want to win or do you want to lose? What is it that you're doing? Let me know so I know what to do.
See?
Wow, let me know so I know what to do. Okay, he doesn't have a brain of his own. Let's go ahead and I need you all to tell me what to think here. But that's not really the clip I want to play for you all. I want to play for you something else. I referenced this before, and I want to go ahead and address this now. Because on Bowling Ball Martin's television show there, he was talking to old Michael Emotep. And y'all know I've been on Michael's show before. And old Michael, he couldn't leave well enough alone. They was feeling them body blows. So Michael decides to take a veiled shot at yours truly. Now, he's going to try to defend Biden by doing what him and Henri and the rest of them said. Doesn't matter what our priorities are. We need to abandon those and just get with the program of whatever is going on here now. So I want to play the video for you here on your screen so you can see Michael say this in his own words.
And executive orders from the executive branch of government. And for all the economic empowerment gurus out there who say we don't need to vote, we just need to do like Asians and build businesses and invest in the stock market, things like this. Well, look at the Federal Court of Appeals that just ruled against the Fearless Fund, the African American women who you've had here on the show, Roland, and they have the grants for actually businesses for women of color. It's not exclusively for African American women, but they were sued by Ed Blum, white conservative activist Ed Blum, the same Ed Blum who got affirmative action in college admissions overturned by the 6-3 conservative Supreme Court that Donald Trump put in place. The Federal Court of Appeals ruled against the Fearless Fund. Now they're trying to decide, what's the.
So Michael couldn't just leave well enough alone. Just go ahead and make whatever little old bull jive ass point he wants to make. He wants to sit up here and invoke yours truly there.
And executive orders from the executive branch of government. And for all the economic empowerment gurus out there who say we don't need to vote, we just need to do like Asians and build businesses and invest in the stock market, things like this. Well, look at the federal.
Okay, well, first of all, I've never been one of these invest in the stock market people, but also, yeah, the foundation is economics because Ed Blum is paying for that stuff there. They got folks who have to pay for it pro bono, meaning somebody else is paying for it. So, yeah, it comes down to that. And he didn't make an argument against it, just bringing up the Fearless Fund. He didn't make an argument against it. That isn't what he did. So what he's trying to tell us all is that, oh, well, black empowerment here, economics. So what about that? There's always somebody telling us what we don't need to do. There's always somebody telling us what we can do without. There's always somebody telling us that we need to go to politics. And by the way, with politics, well, take a look at these federal judges and what they did to the Fearless Fund. Okay, Michael, what about Ketanji Bedwinch Jackson? And the black workers that she voted against, that she ruled against before she went to the Supreme Court. What about her, sir? What about her? You see, that's what we got for following your advice. That wasn't Donald Trump. That's what we got for following your advice, Michael. By the way, while you're sitting here pretending to know it all, he didn't say a word about that. All the Biden judges and nominees that have done that, he didn't say a word about that. Now, did he? Yeah, they always want to talk about judges right up until we talk about the folks the Democrats grabbed. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay. I don't know if that mattered right there. Well, it's just one of them things, It always becomes that. So he wants to talk about judges, but he doesn't want to talk about when the Democrats do that. They're trying to convince you that that Biden is going to have a bunch of judges in there who are going to be protecting us. If the Democrats were good at picking judges who protected us, we wouldn't have any complaints today after 6 damn decades. We wouldn't have any complaints today after 6 damn decades if the Democrats were these great experts on choosing judges to protect black folks' rights. And furthermore, in the chat room, that's a very true statement. You talking about the Black Women of the Fearless Fund, and Ketanji Brown Jackson sat there and told you she doesn't know how to define what a woman is. What? Sat there in front of Congress and says she doesn't know how to define what a woman is. If that's not the quintessential example of got hers. So when it's time for them to be chosen for office, you're the first black woman. But when it's time for them to do some politics, or I don't really know how to define a woman, oh, well, then it doesn't matter if we don't choose you because you don't know what a woman is. I know I'm one. And Michael is not saying a word about that. Well, hell no, because y'all got to understand. Folks, listen to me. There's a whole bunch of these people out here hoping they gonna get a check, hoping they gonna get a little crumb flicked off the table, hoping that they get to show up for some Democrat fundraiser somewhere so they can take pictures, because that's what niggas do, so they can put on their damn fraternity pins.
Nigga, please.
They sit up here and put on their fraternity pins as if that's a power move. Everything is symbolic. And they're always telling you and me what we don't need now is just sunk into a real disrespectful place. They just coming out with it and just saying, nigga, shut up and vote. Well, as always, people, my response to that is, this is good. What? This is good. No, I want you all to remain as stupid and tone deaf as you've been all this time. I want you to sit there and be every bit as arrogant and narcissistic and out of touch as you've been all this time. That's what I want. I want it to remain that way. I want it to stay that way. I want it to remain like that. I want you to stay the way you are. I want you to keep serving that up every day and telling yourselves that you're so much smarter and that nobody else sees what the hell you're trying to pull and that nobody else gets it. I want you to remain that way. I want you to keep doing what you're doing. I want you to ride that damn rocket all the way into the ground. That's what I want you to do. I want you to keep doing that. I want you to keep doing that. I want you to keep telling yourselves you're smarter than the rest of us, and that you're slicker than the rest of us, and that if you sit up here and just crack the whip enough, that the rest of us are going to just jump in line. I want you to tell yourselves that that new black media contingent doesn't really speak for anybody. I want you to keep doing that. I want you to keep doing it. I want you to keep being out of touch. I want you to keep being completely desensitized. I want you to keep being off in your little bubbles where you trade your little fraternity and sorority pins, your mutual admiration societies of idiots and clowns and ass kissers. I want you to keep doing that. And I want you to keep doing that clean through Election Day. You see, I was the guy who said this back when it was not sexy, nor cool, nor acceptable to say it. I said, what we need is a black civil war. And nobody really wanted to go there with it. Nobody wanted to go there with it. They wanted to do something different. I've always said that, no, we need to have that because half measures will not do. We gonna have to take it to the damn street. And at the end of this day, it's either going to be black first or not at all. I've been beating that drum and waving that banner now for 2 decades. That's going to be what it's going to have to be. That is going to have to be a point here where we going to have to take it to the street and go head up. We're going to have to take them and their ideology, and it's going to have to go head up against ours. And we'll see who's the last one standing. That's what it's going to have to be. It's going to have to be that. We're going to have to let them eventually show what their real colors are, and the old niggas done showed that they're just a bunch of Democrat butt kissers who do not care what is in black people's best interest. They're only concerned about what is in their own. They didn't sacrifice anything when they were young, and they're not sacrificing a damn thing now. They see you as their pets at best and their slaves at worst, and they gonna sit here and bark out orders to you. No acknowledgement whatsoever of what your issues are with the current politics. No acknowledgement of that whatsoever. You just shut up and vote. What they want to see is how that's going to go. And what I'm telling them is I think we're all about to find out exactly how that little scummy game plan is going to go for you there. See, this is the way they're used to things happening. They used to white folk talking to them like that. I want y'all to understand that they're used to these old niggas and Roland Martin. They're used to white folk talking to them like this. That's why it doesn't offend them. It offends you and it offends me. It don't offend them. They used to white folks sitting up here yelling at them and cursing at them and dressing them down and talking down. They're used to that. They wonder what the hell is your problem. They're with that program. They just wonder what the hell is your problem. Why you got an issue with it. What they don't understand is that we different. We different. If you all agree with that, give me the black fist emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's almost 6,000 people in here live on the Black channel. If you agree with what I'm saying here, that we are different, give me the black fist emoji and hit the likes button for me. I'm also checking here on our crowdfunding for 8 a.m. We got 3 days left. We got 3 days left. For the folks who've been waiting for their first of the month to hit or the last minute here, we are down to the last 3 days. It's time for you to go ahead and put your name on it. There's still some time left, but I recommend you don't sit up here and get distracted. I recommend you don't get distracted. Nobody else is talking like this. I want y'all to understand they're all asking about Who's speaking for us? They're all talking about the black media. They're all talking about folks that are talking about staying home. They're talking about, oh, your economic empowerment gurus. Folks, don't believe me. Believe them. If you don't think that we're leading the national conversation and we're leading the narrative and they are very, very concerned about what we're talking about, if you don't believe me, don't believe me, believe them. Don't believe what I'm saying, believe what they're saying. They're the ones saying this, not me. They're the ones telling you, yeah, we kind of in trouble out here. They're the ones saying that. I'm just the guy reporting the news. They're the ones repeating our words, repeating the code of conduct that we put out there, and they're trying to convince everybody that the code of conduct doesn't matter. That's what they're trying to convince them of. These other folks don't talk about this kind of thing because they can't talk about it. They're bought and paid for by other people. They're waiting for a White House press secretary job, some job at a corporation, some correspondence job, some guest panelist job. We're the only ones because we are only owned by the people. So I'm only accountable to the people. Whole different ball game. Isn't that interesting? The people who belong to the political parties talk just like the politicians do. No changes. Those of us who belong to the people, our vocabulary and topics are totally different. How we speak about it is totally different. I'm sitting up here saying, I don't care what's in the best interest of the Democrats. I'm only concerned about what's in the best interest of the people. Radically different vocabulary than these other folks have. Radically different. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief non-commercial break, by the way. We'll see how things go when I come back from this. This is The Black Channel.
Hello, my name is Steve Burgess. I'm the author of this book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-aged child. In this book, I've explained the role of the parent and the student in addition to what accommodations, procedures, rewards and consequences and expectations that need to be in place to ensure student success from primary to high school. This book is available on Amazon.com. For more information, please visit my link tree at Easy One-on-One and to access my latest podcast, A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. Thank you all for listening.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, Black first. A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spiritOf1811publishing.com and show your love.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues. 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . 。 . . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。
. . . . . . 。 。 .
. . . . . . 。 .
. . . . . . This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all this evening. And I want to go over a couple of things here. For a moment here. This generation here, and I'm talking about from Gen X on, I want us to be very, very clear about something here. I didn't say it's fair. I didn't say it's right, but there's only one reason why it is that they're talking about we need the young folk now. It's because we began this campaign over a decade ago. If they had their way, they would continue to ignore your existence if they could actually do it. But we got to go beyond that. This idea of saviorism, this idea that you gonna sit back, say a few prayers, and somebody else is gonna step in and jump in and take care of your salvation for you. Now, as young folk, you're very, very quick to criticize the old Negroes for that. You recognize that from them, but for a lot of you, you don't recognize it for yourselves, or it's not convenient to do so. That's a character flaw, and that's a problem. Do you understand that the old niggas are enthusiastic? Old niggas, bed wenches, coons, sellouts, illegal aliens. You realize they're enthusiastic. Do you get that? They're enthusiastic. They are energized. Why, they are very, very active in defending their foolery. They're very, very good for that. What about on our side? I want to make an acknowledgement of something here because I want you to understand this generation can transform everything, but you're not going to get it done being lazy, apathetic, or expecting, well, don't worry, somebody else going to jump in and get to it. And then we the ones out here catching hell. You can't afford to buy a new car. Well, somebody else going to take care of it. They taking care of your ass, aren't they? Houses, them, you can't afford that either. They taking care of you. You're looking for a better job. Oh, here come the illegals. They taking care of you. Somebody else is going to take care of it. No, nobody else is coming to the rescue. If somebody else does show up, they're coming here to disenfranchise you. Them the rules. That's what's going on. We have to be our own advocates from the ground up. We're going to have to be that. And we are going to have to be hyper motivated and hyper mobilized. We don't have a multi-million-dollar war chest to draw off of. That would be nice. No, they're spending billions of dollars to try to intercept us. And I want you to recognize that, by the way, that constitutes a character flaw in that regard. That's not good. That's not good at all. We have to be more motivated. We have to be more energized. We have to be more of that. General Onray is worried that you're going to have a president who comes into office and starts cutting back on some of those grossly excessive benefits that folk like him get. That's what he's worried about. He just wants to make sure that he can coast and cruise all the way to a peaceful death. You're the one out here still in the trenches, still under fire. He's just trying to hold on and maintain. But I want you all to understand where our Achilles tendon tends to be. Our Achilles tendon tends to be that the rest of these folk figure all they got to do is wait us out. That if they just give it a little bit of time, everybody gonna fall back. That's what they count on. They count on us getting apathetic. They count on us getting slack. They count on us getting distracted. And then when that happens, that's when they swoop in, or they go ahead and throw the lemon twist. I'm going to say something right here, and I hope this will stick with you. If you are not the most excited, motivated, mobilized, energized person that there is for what's in your best interest, then you don't have a future. The old niggas could afford to be lax and apathetic because their parents built up so much wealth, that was their inheritance that they squandered. That's true, but it was also supposed to be yours. And they squandered that. And now here you are with no inheritance to speak of, and you have to start all over again as if you're brand new arrivals in this country, starting from zero. And who is speaking to that? Who is speaking that? In the chat room, you say they sold us out. Although, yeah, they certainly did. But there are a lot of mannerisms that these generations that we have today where we're repeating the cycle of doing that. Folks, we've been telling you for over a decade, George Zimmerman murdered Trayvon Martin. The money came flooding in. Darren Wilson, the money came flooding in. Daniel Pantaleo, money came flooding in. Kyle Rittenhouse, money came in like a tsunami. They believe in these things. That's how much being able to kill black people with impunity means to these other folks. That's how serious that is. Donald Trump takes a L in court and the money comes in like a tsunami. Understand that. The money comes in like a tsunami. That's serious business. That's serious business. Folks sit up here and they go grab money to go see Chris Brown for a meet and greet. And I don't have anything against Chris Brown doing what he do. But what I'm saying is, by the way, if you think that's the road to salvation, here on the Black Channel, we're in the middle of an election year. And I want to say a shout out to all my real ones out there. We're in the last 3 days for 8 a.m. But by the way, this is a testimony to what you going through. That's the point I want to make. We got over 5,000 people in here watching live right now, 996 backers on the crowdfunding, over 5,000 people in here live. That's the problem. I want you all to understand, if you want to know what the issue is, that's the issue right there. I'm not going to shade the nickel. I'm not going to mince any words. I'm not going to bite my tongue on it. Shout out to all my real ones, but I want you to understand when I tell you that it's always the elite and the few who lead these things. Everybody else sitting here like the civil rights generation expecting somebody else to do all the footwork and, oh, well, somebody else will take care of it. And then they don't want to get motivated until they get locked up, till they lose their job, till they get kicked out of college, until something happens to them, quote, personally. Then they want everybody to circle the wagons. Do you see what the problem is there? We want to sit up here and wait until somebody else, you get your ass in a bind that you can't get out of. Then you want to jump up and say, hey, everybody needs to circle the wagons. Hey, come circle them for me. The time to be circling those wagons, the time for you to be doing that was before it was your turn to go to the gallows. That was the time to be doing that. I am not one of these people who's in constant fundraiser mode. Roland Martin is in constant perpetual fundraiser mode. Every time he show up, he's sitting up here asking for money and this, that, and the other. They're always doing that. When I'm saying y'all know me, y'all see me like once every 5 years. And when I do show up, I bring the goods. Y'all see me once every half a decade. Once every half a decade. Y'all don't see me show up every week. Hell, I don't show up every year. I show up once a half a decade to say, hey, I brought the goods. And I'm telling our story because nobody else is telling it. Stephen A. Smith has never been an advocate for your kids in high school getting paid for their labor? Stephen A. Smith ain't said a word about it. Truth be told, Shannon Sharp ain't said a word about it neither. Nobody has been stomping and being an advocate for that. I've been the only person you all have seen has been on the JOB now for going on 2 decades. Hey, you need to pay these young folk here. If Nick Saban can make NFL money, why is it that the young men on his football team ain't getting paid something too? If nobody is pocket watching Nick Saban, how the hell you pocket watching the only people on the field getting something done? Nobody else is talking about that. You have major television and commercial outlets, folks with NFL television broadcasting deals and NBA broadcasting deals, and they ain't saying nothing. They're not saying a word. Not one. Not a syllable. Your kids are at these schools. Your kids are at these institutions. Your nephews and nieces are at these places. Who is standing up for them? Who's standing up for them? In the chat room there, they shut down the Cash App there. We already explained about that, but that's not an excuse. We got a bunch of other ways for that, so that's not an excuse. By the way, that's not an excuse. I want y'all to understand that. When it comes time to have advocates and speak up for what we're doing here, everybody's like, oh, we don't know what we gonna do. These other folk, man, they already moving. These are races that get won by the quickest folk, the most motivated, the fastest, the most persistent. That's who wins these things. If our generation doesn't make it, you're not going to like this. If our generation doesn't make it, it's going to be because we sat around trying to party and BS and Pornhub and OnlyFans and TikTok. Shout out Malachi and everybody else who's contributed here tonight. But I got to say this for what it is here. If our generation fails, I want you to understand you won't get what the civil rights generation got. Understand that. The civil rights generation was the last one that could coast on what their parents gave them. You ain't got no inheritance. You're not going to get one. If you don't make your voice heard, if you don't advocate for yourself, if you don't make your issue the priority, don't worry about it. You are watching now that when you were children, you heard that it was New York and Los Angeles that were the places that folks were getting gentrified out of. Now places you never even really thought of like that. Places you never really even thought of like that. Nashville, Tennessee. Birmingham, Alabama. St. Louis, Missouri. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Seattle, Washington. Those are the folks, these are the places now. Everywhere you go, you hearing about this. Charlotte, North Carolina, Baltimore, Maryland, it's everywhere now. It's everywhere now. It's not a New York thing anymore. You're not gonna make it that far. Hell, most of you haven't already. No, it's not Jacksonville, Florida. It's the entire state of Florida, the entire state of California, the entire state of New York, the entire state of New Hampshire. We ain't talking about, I said this a decade ago, we're no longer discussing gentrified cities. We're now discussing gentrified states. There are whole states now that you're getting priced out of. It used to be that when you got priced out of your block. Now you're getting priced not out of the city, you're getting priced out of the whole state. That's why there's a bunch of folk from the New York area got to get up, pack up, and leave. And the places that they're going to, they done jumped out of the frying pan and into the fire. You're leaving New York City and trying to go down to the Carolinas, and your ass runs straight into Charlotte, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Greensboro, Goldsboro, Asheville. It ain't safe. You thought it was going to be the winning move and better than where you left from, and then you find out I'll be damned. Everybody's got the same strategy. Nobody is trying to have a cheap state to be in or a cheap place to be in. Everybody is tightening the vice and tightening the noose. Your parents got theirs. You the one sitting up here ass out, and understand something, and this is the critical, crucial point. Where in the hell have these old niggas been all this time to advocate for your interest of the next generation? Where are they? They're sitting up here wagging their damn fingers in your face talking about you need to go vote. Where the hell these niggas been for 4 decades? Where have they been while you've been out here catching arrows and catching bullets and catching blows? Where have they been? Where have they been at? They were sitting up here arguing with me a decade ago, talking about don't talk about the old folk like that. A decade and a half later, they still have never come out and spoken about what you putting up with and what you dealing with and what you tolerating and what you're suffering under out here. They're not speaking up on your behalf at all. Roland Martin does one chintzy-ass cheesy show after another, ain't saying a damn thing about housing prices. Then you would have to say, how is it Joe Biden been in office for 4 years and housing prices have done nothing but go up? Talking about student loans. Student loans, you ain't having to eat nor sleep nor live under a student loan. But that mortgage loan is a different matter. And they're not saying a word about that. Not a syllable. Because then you would have to ask, by the way, what the hell is the man you telling us to vote for done about it? Or are you about to feed us another damn excuse? Which is the only thing they're going to do is feed you yet another excuse. My generation, this generation, the next generation, y'all just understand the previous generations could afford to be lazy and apathetic. They could afford it. They got theirs. You didn't have a predatory real estate market when they were coming up. They left that to you and said, "All right, little young nigga, you on your own." And the worst part, as I always said, is they're not even talking about it. They'll mention housing prices as an issue, but you notice that none of them are saying what they've done or what they've done about it. They promise that if you reelect them, well, we'll try to do something. You've been in office for 4 damn years. And you passed the CHIPS Act. Damn! So you pulled tens of billions of dollars out your rump to give it to Silicon Valley corporations who they made hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars over the last 40 years, offshoring semiconductor production. They started in the United States. They got up and left the United States and went to Asia. Now they're holding the United States up for ransom with your tax dollars today to say, pay us billions of dollars to bring semiconductor production back to the United States. That's what Joe Biden got done during his time as president. He made sure that Intel and Taiwan Semiconductor and these other semiconductor chip manufacturers get billions of dollars to build foundries over here in America. And then he's going to tell you he don't know what to do about housing for you, but re-elect me and I'll see if I can get around to it. He didn't tell Intel and them he'll see if he can get around to it. And they got big real estate in Austin and Arizona and all the other places that they building while they're giving you their excuses. Did you notice that Roland Martin and friends did not complain about that not being mentioned during the debates? Let me tell you something right now. As young people, you know full well you want stability, you got aspirations, you're going to put things in place. And if you tune into a debate, you might ignore the rest of that stuff. But if they ask, by the way, housing prices are out of damn me control, Mr. Trump, what you gonna do about it? If he tries to evade that question, your ears are gonna perk up and be like, okay, not him. If Biden tried to evade it, you're gonna be like, okay, not them. When it comes to what's really in your interest, these folks get deadly quiet. Now, I took the body blows early on because nobody wanted to call out who and what the real problem was. I did that, and the national body politic has begun to change. But I just thought I would take out this moment to remind you all, when we have thousands of us in a room like we are right now, thousands show up every week, and your grandparents are at the church. If they don't show up tonight, if they weren't there today, they gonna be there tomorrow morning organizing against your interests.
Auntie, chill.
Do you understand that? Folks, they're going to show up in church tomorrow morning and get together to try to organize, to try to figure out how to circumvent you. They're going to talk about Donald Trump, but the issues that you have are actually a product of what they haven't done. And they're going to be sitting there organizing for themselves. They gonna get together with Pastor Pork Chop and Deacon Red Beans and Rice, and they're gonna be like, these little young niggas need to quit complaining, pull their pants up, and get to work. That's what they're going to tell them. That's what they're going to say to them. They're going to get up there and they're going to tell them that that's, y'all out here need to quit whining and complaining, which is exactly what Roland and General Onery are sitting up here saying. That's why I played that for you all here at the beginning of this thing here. Man, they trying to figure out how to circumvent you. They're trying to figure out how to circumvent you. No wonder they're telling you that it doesn't matter what you're talking about. They got theirs, and my generation and the one after it here, I just wanted to let you know, okay. Okay. All right. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. Sitting here being silent, and I know some of y'all were raised by some deficient people, and you guys shake that off right there. Being invisible is going to be a death knell for our generation, because I want to introduce another specter to you here that many of you have not considered. Sitting around and being the bump on the log and whatnot, and you've gone from Jesus will provide to, oh, well, everything gonna be all right. Jesus or not, everything gonna be all right. Just understand, you have embraced fatalism. You have embraced fatalism. You are not going to have that option. Please understand that. They're not going to take it easy on you when you get older like they have with these old niggas. That's not going to be your fate. You are going to be the generation that they go after from the cradle to the grave. This is going to be the generation that they go after, the Gen X, Gen Z. You're going to be the ones that they go after from the cradle to the grave. It's no longer enough. White flight is nothing compared to what y'all are going to see. Or what we're seeing now. White flight is nothing compared to that. The reason why I make documentary films is because Black enterprise wouldn't do it. You all who were there with me a decade ago, you saw Black enterprise flat out ignore us. They're supposed to be the publication of record for Black empowerment and economics and entrepreneurship, and they flat out ignored us. The only documentary film ever that talked about economics and entrepreneurship centered on that had reputable people in it, people who had been featured in Black Enterprise Magazine. Reputable people in it, and Black Enterprise Magazine did not talk about our crowdfunding, but they did talk about Issa Rae. What? Now that they did do. The exact same year. So let me get this straight. The so-called Black publication of record dealing with and specializing in Black entrepreneurship was ignoring us. Didn't say a word. But Issa Rae, they promoted. And then our crowdfunding blew hers out of the water. And yet they still said, yeah, damn them. Who does Black enterprise serve? That's my point. Who does Black enterprise serve? Who does Tom Joyner really serve? Who does Roland Martin really serve? Who does Essence and Ebony and Jet, who do they really serve? Because I know what they say on the front of their little publications, but who do they really serve? And who really serves your interests? What I'm saying is that if we don't tell our story, just please understand, nobody else is going to tell it. And I want to remind you in no uncertain terms, this time it's not going to be some shucking and jiving. That's not what it's going to be. I would like to introduce to you all from 8 a.m. I want to give you the prognostication because I've been dealing with this. There's a reason why this week I talked about Detroit on my Patreon for my other YouTube channel. I talked about Nashville, Tennessee. Nobody was discussing Nashville. No one was looking at that. When you talked about gentrification, people only talked about two places, New York City and Los Angeles. Those were the only two they talked about. When they talked about gentrification, it was New York and California. Nobody else was mentioned. I am the first person who actually in a national forum talked about gentrification as a national problem and then took you to a place you never thought was actually suffering this. Nashville, Tennessee, Davidson County. Okay, but I didn't even know. I was literally coming back from Black Empowerment 1 and my GPS was messing up when I was going down Interstate 40 and I had to get off the freeway to try to get my bearings. I didn't even really know where I was. I remember to this day, the freeway sign that I saw said Antioch. That's why I didn't know where I was. The freeway exit ramp sign that I saw said Antioch. So I didn't really know where. I didn't know I was all the way in Nashville yet. The GPS was messing up so bad. I didn't know I was there yet. And then I got off the freeway and being an old construction worker back before the illegals took all the construction jobs, General Onery. By the way, these young black men, you want to sit up here and bring in the illegals. Yeah, because you got yours. Understand something. Let me just say something right quick before I get back to Nashville here. Old niggas in the military don't give a damn where the other soldiers come from, especially if they're in a command position. Just so long as he ain't got to hit the front lines, he don't give a damn where the infantry come from. They can be career soldiers, they can be illegal aliens, they can be mercenaries, they can be Martians. He don't give a damn. My folks in the military know I'm telling the damn truth. Your commanders don't give a damn where the bodies come from, just so long as there's bodies to send out there. And I'm telling the truth. Yeah, I'm yelling it because nobody else is telling it. There are several dimensions of this, how they got you in a damn trick bag. In any case, I got off that freeway and I saw those tower cranes downtown because as an old construction worker, I knew that every tower crane basically represents a new skyscraper or a new heavy structure. And when I saw 12 I saw 12 tower cranes in the middle of Nashville, Tennessee, downtown in 2015. I said, you will not be able to recognize this skyline in Nashville in 10 years. Hell, you won't recognize it in 5. People, there are over 100 projects under development in the Nashville downtown core.
What?
Damn! I was reading an article, I was playing an article earlier today about that. People, there are over 100 projects currently under development for Nashville, Tennessee's downtown core. 100. That's not gentrification, that's annihilation. Do you understand that? If you still using the word gentrification, nigga, you behind. That's not gentrification, that's extermination. And they're building it all for out-of-towners and yuppies and white kids. They're just going, what they're letting you know is right now they are going to go block by block and ethnically cleanse you. Over the course of the next 10 years, they're just going to go block by block and ethnically cleanse Nashville. And then move on to Davidson County as a whole. And then move on to Knoxville. Oh, I ain't forgot about Knoxville County. They're going to go from Davidson to Knoxville. And then finally their spiritual home, Memphis. Eventually, you will see them make the move into Memphis. You ain't seen nothing in Memphis yet. I'm talking about they gonna make Nashville moves. Don't try to tell me about they already doing it in Memphis. They've let you get the warning sign about what's coming into Memphis. They're gonna make, Memphis will be the last one. But because they're gonna have to come into Memphis super heavy. They can't just come into Memphis slapshod. They're gonna have to come into Memphis ready and geared up for war. And they will. They're just proving that they can do it in Nashville first. Then they're going to prove they can do it in Knoxville. And then finally the crown jewel, Memphis. And that will be a wrap for black people in the entire state of Tennessee. You better get your kids with some name, image, likeness. You better get them with some skills. You better get them capitalizing on their talents and their abilities and their skills. You better get them to recognize what they really have. You better stop bull jiving. The national conversation better change and continue changing, because what I just told you about Davidson County, downtown Nashville, most of you did not know that. Even those of you in Nashville did not know that many permits have been pulled. Did you know that many permits had been pulled for downtown Nashville? No, you didn't know. And I'm just appraising you about downtown Nashville. I can literally name about a dozen other cities right now with similar things shaping up. Charleston, South Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina. Those places right now are being redone in order to compete against Florida. Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, Savannah, Georgia. Those things are being rebuilt. Those things are being reorganized now and rejiggered as resort and tourism mega sites. And the goal is to use those as the anchors, and then you start ethnically cleansing everything around it, which is what in Charleston, I'm just letting y'all know right now, they've already backed that up all the way to Mother Bethel. Man, look here. Mother Emanuel. The waterfront is gone. And I hate to see that because you got some Gullah Geechee people down there. The old woman down there across the street from the Bay Inn down there. Yeah, I went and chopped it up with her. Those of you who live in Charleston, you know who she is. You know who she is. Right across from the Harbor Inn. Y'all know that woman right there. She Gullah Geechee. I went there and chopped it up with her. And I'm just feeling sad because I'm like, okay, I already know where it's going. She trying to keep the faith, but I'm like, man, look here. They're literally building this giant skyscraper literally across the street from her, Lowe's. And I'm like, you do understand that that's a $1 billion development that they're building there in Charleston. $1 billion development. You don't spend that kind of money because you bull jiving. You're doing that to compete against Florida. And I've only got one question to ask those of you in Charleston, South Carolina, who are looking at that. You haven't worked in construction. You haven't worked in real estate or real estate development. You don't actually know what you're looking at. I have one question to ask you. When Lowe's is finished, and by my estimates, they should be finished within the next 6 or 8 calendar months. When that thing is finally fully done with its development, which it isn't yet, but when it's finally done, do you think it's going to be the last one? Damn! Do you think that $1 billion structure that they're building on the riverfront in Charleston, you think that's going to be the last one? Did you not notice what I noticed? That they're clearing out other areas down there? Did you not notice what I did? Apparently you didn't. They're clearing out other areas on that riverfront in case you didn't notice. I say riverfront is a bay, but they're clearing out other areas. I used to do construction. I'm like, oh, y'all are just getting started. What they've done on the waterfront in Savannah, now, even though those are not as tall, what they've done on the waterfront in Savannah, that's what they're getting ready to do. Oh, that's what they're on their way to doing in Charleston and Wilmington. You know, where our Black Wall Street was, where they terroristically overthrew a black government. Now they want to make sure you never return. My folks in Wilmington, you seen what they've done on the waterfront down there. They got a Ruth's Chris and all that right there on the waterfront. Now that boardwalk ain't nothing to brag about, but you see where they built their little yuppie apartment complexes and stuff overlooking the water. Then got their Ruth's Chris right there in the middle of it and their donut shop. They are playing no games, people. They're making sure, oh, once we take this, there ain't no going back. And what I'm saying is, by the way, When was the last time that you heard Roland Martin speak about that? Never wary. Mark Lamont Schill, never wary. All these old black media people in the places that y'all are trying to be in today. People, do you recognize I don't even talk about my old stomping grounds in Dallas, Texas anymore? I don't even talk about Dallas anymore. Dallas is done. It's over. If you ain't papered up, you ain't gonna make it in Dallas. We don't have Oak Cliff anymore. We don't have University anymore. I talked about that a decade ago. They got the illegals squatting in that right now. The illegals and the developers are taking all that now, bruh. It's done. Black folk are hiding out down there in DeSoto where they've been for the longest. But you see that whole damn interstate heading down into DeSoto. They building shopping plazas on either side of that damn thing all the way straight down. You can see what the next 20 years is going to be. They're nibbling away at DeSoto, but they're already biting on it. And you can't do nothing with it. Downtown Dallas, done. Addison, done. Mesquite, done. Plano, been done. Arlington, done. Fort Worth. We can't move like that in Fort Worth. Irving, done. Grapevine, done. It's not on its way to over. It's over. It's not on its way. Las Colinas, done. I don't even talk about the Dallas Metroplex anymore. That's why you see me talking about Atlanta. At least you still have a sizable black population there. At least we have a sizable black population there. In the chat room, Timothy Harden needs to give us a call. So glad that he's got some gems of wisdom to give here. Timothy needs to be on the telephone lines here, so I guess that's as good a segue as any. The telephone lines are now open, and Timothy needs to give us a call. He's got 2 minutes to be on the line. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the only black media outlet that we got left that deals with the economics, the X's and O's, and talks about your life, where you are and where you living. Tom Joyner was in Dallas and didn't say a word. Tom Joyner was sitting right there in Dallas for decades, didn't say a damn word. Then again, he didn't need to. He was living so fat, literally. He was living so fat and living so good. Tom Joyner was living so fat and living so good. He couldn't even see things going downhill where the hell he was. And he didn't care because he had his. All he wanted to do was sit up with a bunch of other aged out old niggas and go on they damn cruise ships. Okay, but the kids out here on the street that you ain't did nothing for getting it out the mud, they can't go on no cruise ship. They got to get theirs. They sit back here and ain't did a damn thing for those of you out here struggling. And worst of all, they won't even talk about it. And I'm being nice. These are some of the developed places we talking about right now. I'm being nice, people. You see the exact same thing shaping up down in Biloxi, Mississippi. You see it happening in Birmingham, Alabama, Interstate 20. Now they finished that bull job they were doing in downtown Birmingham, Legacy Arena. You know where this is going. Anybody who's driven through Interstate 20 through downtown Birmingham, you see them skyscrapers down there. You see what's coming. I don't even want to talk about what's happening in the Gulf. I don't even want to talk about what's happening along Interstate 10. As soon as you come back over Interstate 10 from Florida, I don't even want to talk about that. I talked about that years ago. The word is already out. That's Alabama. You don't want to talk about Houston down to Galveston. You can keep flooding it all you damn well want to. It's too damn valuable. Folks ain't going nowhere. Just like Florida. Ain't nothing you can do with that. It don't matter. And that's the nice one. Austin, Texas used to be a place that you could go ahead and get your groove on, and you didn't have to worry about some of the things. Austin is just about gone now. The mayor literally said he wants that to be the San Francisco of Texas. San Francisco, you know, the place with the most out of control real estate prices in America? Yeah, the mayor saying he wants Austin to be San Francisco. You can't be San Francisco without the outrageously overpriced housing. It don't work. It ain't gonna happen. I can keep going. Arizona. Used to have to just be worried in Arizona. Never thought the middle of the damn desert would be a place you could get priced out of. But my folks in Chandler know what the hell they saw happen in front of them. In Nevada, it used to just be Vegas. Now it's Vegas, it's Reno. And ain't nothing you can do. Maricopa County, we can keep going here. You used to have some safe spots. We used to have places we could retreat to. Where can you retreat to? All the housing stock is done. The downtown condos are taken. You got to pay the damn freight. And you'll be on the hook and you'll stay there. Los Angeles, Leimert Park, Tragnew Park. Some folks don't understand when they start saying them parks. Go up and down Crenshaw. I ain't telling you what somebody else told me. I'm telling you what I lived. I'm telling you what I seen. Crenshaw is going to be the suburbs when they get done. My folks in Los Angeles know building that subway, y'all know what it is. You've seen it and you know what that is. Compton is already gone. What? All the folks who remember their old NWA albums, by the way, Compton's already gone. In case you didn't know. I was there. I've been there. The corner of Rosecrans and Central. I've been there. I've been there. Compton's already gone. From here on in, it's just going to be a slow slide downward till you accept the inevitable. You go to Tam Burgers. All I can say is go through the drive-thru at Tam Burgers. You're going to see what it is. Go through the drive-thru at Tam Burger. You're going to see what it is. You're going to see what it is. I'm not telling you what somebody else told me. And it used to be that the fallback position, because you can't go to Hollywood Hills and Encino, and you can't do any of that no more. It used to be the fallback position was Riverside and San Bernardino. Y'all are watching that dry up. Fontana, you're watching that dry up in real damn time. And what I'm saying is you got all these folks with their television outlets and their radio outlets and Ricky Smiley and the rest of them. I'm like, hey, we need Steve Harvey and them. We need to be sitting down and having a whole damn week where we talk about what the hell is happening out here and whether or not you're encouraging us to vote for people who are doing something about the damn issue we actually have. Moreno Valley, don't even start me on Moreno Valley. Don't even start me on Moreno Valley. The mountain that got the damn initials on it. Don't even start me on Moreno Valley. You drive up and down Moreno Valley, it looks like Florida driving up and down through Moreno Valley. Seeing all their streets out there and whatnot, Moreno Valley reminds me more of being like in Jupiter, Florida, or actually Chandler, Arizona. So, yeah, Moreno Valley, forget about it. Folks go through there with their big engines and stuff like that, but other than that, they ain't got no real estate. All you can do is drive through Moreno Valley. You can't homestead there. Forget about it. Forget about it. Yes, and the Latinos got that locked down. And by the way, one more thing, and the Latinos got that locked down. In the chat room, somebody said something very naive. You can't push or price people off the earth. Somebody needs to appraise them about the last 500 years of history. Apparently, they think we're moving in a different direction as opposed to moving back where we were. So apparently, they don't think you can push or price people off the planet. Somebody might want to pull their coat and explain to them exactly where we at. By the way, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. Timothy needs to be on the line. If he is not, he can go ahead and be removed. Let me get caller from area code 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Thomas calling from Dallas, Texas.
Thomas from Dallas, Texas. What's on your mind, brother?
Jason, it's over. I mean, like you said, Dallas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio. I mean, you name it. Everybody, if you plan on moving to Texas, you might as well hang it up because it's a rap.
Nigga, when you talk about residential in Texas now, dude, it all looks like Trophy Club now. It all looks like that now. Whatever the new construction is, that's all it looks like is Trophy Club now. For my folks who are not from Dallas, Texas, the Dallas Metroplex, y'all don't know what Trophy Club is there, but their houses, they all real close together, which is the Floridization of the world. But they big ass 2-story houses, all brick, real nice. They close together, but yeah, you're gonna have to drop $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 to get something out there. The whole thing is looking like that now. The whole thing.
It's a wrap. I mean, as you move way out, if you stay in Dallas, if you move way out to Sherman or Barnum, that's going out to the country. That's the only parts you're going to be able to get some good housing. But in the city area, it's a wrap. I mean, no matter where you go. So, yeah, you're right. And for this old clown, man, to sit a general jackass, to sit up and tell young people to just go and vote for nothing. See, what they fail to realize that the new black media have been running New York for the last decade, and y'all been teaching these young folks how to vote and how to survive. These old niggas been always on that bullshit. They've been always on the foolery, trying to convince us, like you said, to go vote so they can keep their Social Security. See, he's gonna be good because he got medical benefits, he got Social Security, and ain't no telling what else he got. Pension, 401k. So he don't care. He don't care about his grandkids or his kids. Damn everybody. As long as he's getting what he's getting, he don't give a damn. Now, he need to take his old AZZ ass and go sit down. B1, Jason.
Black first, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight here. Folks, I've been talking about it forever. I've been talking about it forever here, and I want you to understand, because nobody else was saying anything about this, I'm the only one who's been following this. I'm the only one who's been following this and keeping up with it and just saying, hey, by the way, this is where we at. Not this is where we on the way to. This is where we're at now. This is where we're at right now. And when you talk about, like, for example, Los Angeles, if you think that that's going to be something that's just going to be stopped, you think that's going to be something that's going to be stopped, I want you to understand, and you all know that I covered this here a few weeks ago. This is not a Los Angeles issue. Take a look on your screens. You all remember I covered this a few weeks ago. The median home price is $1 million in over 200 California towns. So if you're operating under the idea of gentrified cities, 200 folks, you're not describing a gentrified city. You're describing a gentrified state. Not a gentrified city. That's a gentrified state. How many of your television and radio personalities in California have the conversation that I'm having with you right now to let you know that, by the way, if you do not own a house in California right now, you might want to just forget about it, because are you ready for a median home price of $1 million? And many of you are just now finding this out tonight that, Jason, are you for real? I've been on this. I've been on this, that as of 2024, it's not just Los Angeles or Los Angeles and San Diego or Los Angeles, San Diego and San Francisco. This is California. This is California, not Los Angeles, not Southern California. This is California, period. And please tell me, show me, enlighten me, where any of your old dead black media was sitting y'all down and saying, hey, we need to talk to the young folk coming up about exactly where you at so that your politics can follow your interests, not our interests from the civil rights generation. We don't need more damn prescription drugs when you can't afford to live. Caller Miracle 602, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller Mary Code 602, you're on live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, can you hear me, Brother Jason?
Yes. What is your name? Where you calling from, sir?
Yes, sir. This is Mark calling out of Litchfield Park, Arizona.
Okay, Mark out of Litchfield Park. And what is on your mind?
Brother, I've been listening to your broadcast for the last 3 years, and I got to tell you, this is the first one that I've been actually, and I wanted to call in on, because you're firing on all cylinders. I used to live in Dallas, so I'm originally from the East Coast. My family's from the East Coast between North Carolina and Georgia. I moved out to Texas back in the early 2020 and lived out there for 2 years. And when you and the last caller were speaking about what's going on in Texas, brother, you're really hitting on it. When you mentioned Trophy Club earlier in your broadcast, you mentioned about you were also a contractor. So I'm a contractor as well. We do kitchen and bathroom remodels. And when I was in Texas, I'd venture to say that a lot of the major suburbs around the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, you said Trophy Club. I'm gonna tell you what, a lot of these suburbs are turning into Westlake. Now I know you know about Westlake.
Yeah. It's all planned out now. It's not like it was before. It's sporadic. You've literally got international money now coming and building whole subdivisions. So yeah, it's being planned out now. It's not happening at random. They're just planning it out now.
Yeah. And so what we got to do, and one of the things that I'm starting to see, and when I was listening to your broadcast earlier, when the older gentleman was speaking with bowling ball Roland Martin, we have to remember these old Negroes. That guy there. You got to remember he's probably sitting on 3 paychecks a month. My man's getting his military pension. He's probably had some old job that he had to do. Probably working at Delco Battery. He got a pension coming from that, because my family's from the South. I got people in my family still alive right now getting a pension from Delco Battery. So he's probably getting one of them old pensions. And then he's getting Social Security. That man's getting 3 checks. We can't listen to them. They are so disconnected from what's going on out here for us right now. And one of the things that I'll even point out is you look at individuals such as that. These guys aren't paying mortgages. My man's sitting on a porch that's probably paid off. You put a $2,600 a month mortgage in front of him, he'll probably have a stroke.
Like I say,
disconnected.
we
And they
need
don't-
to speak
they're-
to folk who have our interests at heart, who are not talking what's in their best interest, but what's in ours. And you can hear from what they're saying. They're not even up to date. They're not saying a word about the housing costs. They're not saying a word about the car costs. They're not saying a word about being priced out of everything. They're not saying a word about the upward mobility that you don't have. They're not saying a word about the fact that this is no longer confined to any areas anymore. It's anywhere you are. We used to be able to say that this was just, 20 years ago, we were talking about, 25 years ago, we were talking about Plano. Now it's just the whole damn Metroplex now. It looks like Los Angeles. It looks like Los Angeles, and Los Angeles could actually accommodate the housing, and there is no end in sight. That's the real problem.
You know, one thing I'd like to add to that, if I can, before I land my plane, let me add this to this, because I know you'll understand where I'm coming from, because, like I said, you was a contractor as well. One of the biggest reasons why I ended up leaving the Texas market with my company was because of the level of competition. And the reason being is because, Texas have very relaxed contracting requirements.
Do.
In Texas, there's no such thing as a general contractor's license. So we're out here competing with Hispanics, and they got the numbers over us. You can't compete with that. So me being a contractor on the East Coast, moving out closer to the West Coast, at least I'll give Arizona this part. We have licensing requirements to where you just can't jump into contracting without a license. But in Texas, man, look here, any Joe Blow can jump into roofing, anything with no license. There's no license requirements, and so it's very hard for us to compete with that where we don't have those numbers. And I will give it to the Hispanics. They are on code when it comes to that. But we can't compete with that. And so I see that as something that just, it hurts us, especially in that state. And like I said, I was there for 2 years and I tried it. It's a good state, but man, we can't compete with that.
Like I say, the time to be looking at this and whatnot. I saw the writing on the wall 25 years ago, specifically with the flood of illegals back in the 90s. When I saw them at every pizza shop and every fast food restaurant and every university job or janitorial, whatever. I told y'all since I first started this broadcast, you've seen the last generation picking beans like that. I saw it then in the 90s, and now take a look at it. It's come out exactly the way. The white folk are doing okay. It's the black folk who took it on the chin. It's the black folk who take it on the chin. The white folks have protected themselves in the economy. We've been left out here dangling. The buffer class strategy is working like a son of a gun in Dallas. I'll let you have the last word.
It is, and that's what's getting us as far as, when we as a group and we're on code and we're in states where there's this big deregulation. It's more important than ever for us to be on code, to be B1, because at the end of the day, as our elder Dr. Claude Anderson said, racism is a group sport. And I'll land it with this. As he said, you play as a group or you lose by default. Appreciate you, Brother Jason.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. We appreciate that. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to tonight's program here and for our documentary work here. So Miss King, as always, thank you very much. Mr. McFadden, Carmen Thomas, and everyone here, Joe Harrison, all the folks who have become new members. We appreciate that. Where have these people been for 40 years, by the way? When do they get together and open up their microphones and say, you know what, we only want people aged 35 or younger to call in? Tell us what's happening here in D.C. Bowling Ball Martin broadcasts out of D.C., but do you notice that Bowling Ball Martin does not want to have a conversation about Mayor Muriel Bowser? He doesn't want to have a conversation about housing prices in the D.C. Metroplex. He doesn't want to have a conversation about upward mobility and what black folk have out of it. Yeah, because then you're going to have to come take a look at that mayor who has no problem yelling about LGBT, but when it comes about BLAK, all of a sudden she has nothing to say and he's not pressing it. See, y'all got to understand, when I talk about politics and the Democratic Party, y'all are just thinking about the presidency. I'm telling you, do you understand in your major cities, if they got Democrat mayors or Democrat city council, all of a sudden folks get real quiet. They get real shy and real meepish. So you live in D.C. and you can talk about, I'll tell you, in D.C., when I did my film Gentrified, we talked about the Florida Grill in D.C., which is really ironic. Okay, you're in D.C., but there's a place called the Florida Grill. I've been there. Latinos and white folk working in the place. They got pictures all along the walls of celebrities that have signed it. They got pictures all along the walls, and they're talking about how Bill Cosby and them used to come through there in the segregation days and all that. That's great. That's cool and everything. Then I'm sitting there literally watching them build this multi-million-dollar luxury condo housing right next to the Florida Grill. And I'm like, okay, this ain't the neighborhood for us. You're talking about all these black folk who used to come there, and this was the place they would come to, is the Florida Grill. And now 5 decades later, the neighborhood's been taken over, and this is simply a historical anecdote. And no, I wasn't impressed by the food either, by the way. I wasn't actually impressed by it. Then I saw who was making it, and I'm like, okay, I actually wasn't impressed. I know I'm from Louisiana, so we can be hard to please. I understand that, but I'm like, no, not really. And don't expect Roland Martin to have a conversation about that. Because then you're going to have to sit big body Muriel Bowser down and say, hey, by the way, heifer, what the hell are you doing? Caller from area code 646. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Onan from Queens. What's up, Jason?
All right, Onan from Queens. What's on your mind?
So, I believe people like Roland Martin are just shaking in their boots right now because you and Tariq Nasheed and Professor Black Truth have rendered them irrelevant. And the young people just don't listen to them. But as far as the politics are concerned, I see you three as the guiding light. And I seriously hope that you keep on going and that you keep on pressing, because I'm fully invested in this, and I'd like to give my thanks. I've told you this before, but I really can't stress the point enough. You have absolutely changed my life. I used to be a stone cold bootleg before I listened to the new black media, and I was a raging Democrat. I was engaged in all kinds of crazy stuff, and then I started listening to you and Professor Black Truth, and my views on things have totally changed. And I thank God that I came across you and brothers like Tariq Nasheed and Professor Black Truth. And I want to land my plane there, brother, so be one.
Well, lip service is not service. I want to see you all on my film. Let me explain something to y'all, folks. When I sit up here and talk to you about that Tom Joyner sitting down there in Dallas, if we don't have conversations, if you got black politicians, you're supposed to hold their feet to the damn fire. You do not blindly support them. This is treason to have people sitting up here telling you to blindly support them. That's how the hell we got where we are. We're supposed to hold them to a standard and demand results in exchange for our vote. Understand that. You are never supposed to blindly support people. It's supposed to be a no-brainer that you support them. You know who the hell's dealing your interests. If they are, it's a no-brainer. But if you got to sit there and struggle with yourself and be conflicted, and it's like, I don't really know what I'm getting. Well, I've been waiting and they keep giving me excuses. Okay, no, that's no good. No, we do not blindly support them. And they put these people in the media for the purposes I've told you for over 2 decades now. Their job is to deliver the black vote. But not to tell black folk, by the way, here's what the hell we got to show for it. Philadelphia, St. Louis. Folks want to sit up here and be entertainers and neck jerk. And meanwhile, the only folks benefiting from the city are folks who don't look like us, and your local media and your radio hosts. When it's time for elections, they supposed to be putting them people down and giving them the damn business about what they have or have not done. But they will not speak truth to power because they're looking out for their personal interests and not our interests as a group. Then want to tell you just shut up and vote. And then when you get gentrified out the damn city, oh well, they'll see if they can bring in somebody else to replace you. Call from area code 412. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. My name is Robert. I'm calling from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This information that you're presenting to us today is very, very sobering. But I like to say this. Brothers and sisters, I know you heard the quote, we pay for what we want and we beg for what we need. We are in a continuous condition red. We enable, by non-participating, for the enemy to get stronger and stronger. If you think by playing with our existence as a game, we will lose. I am 75 years old, and my peers are caught in demo-crazy hypnosis. Be able to recognize these demons like Roland and the General. Please, brothers and sisters, protect our advocates by financially supporting them, especially this gift by the name of Jason Black. If we don't support our advocates, we won't have them. We need to make our own help because we need it. We are competing against an organized governmental initiative who are supporting buffer classes to do with them eradication of blacks. Think about this, for example, for instance, that I was noted of seeing the other day. I was seeing homeless people in my area where I live, and I seen some of the women, and the men too, but it really stuck out with the women. They had false eyelashes on, laying in a homeless tent. We need to get our priorities straight. Jason, I can't thank you enough, and I'm waiting to hear my name on the gift that I put toward the new movie that you're putting out. Keep up the good work, brother.
Thank you very much for your support, Robert. We appreciate that as always. Thank you very much, brother. In the chat room, you're talking about Tampa. Tampa was always the bastard stepchild in Central Florida. I can tell y'all about your streets. Tampa was always the bastard stepchild right up until Tom Brady showed up. I was the one who told y'all, as soon as Tom Brady turned that into Titletown, it was over for Tampa. Now Tampa is looking like everybody else. They done got their weight up. The money done blew up real damn quick. Folks have stopped talking about moving out and talking about moving in. So much for being the bastard stepchild. If y'all ever get a beach, you'll be up to code. But other than that, forget about it. I called this the whole damn time. I told you Tom Brady is there. As soon as he made that Titletown, that's a wrap. You're done. You're done. It's over for Tampa now. Get ready to look like everything else. Call from area code 651. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Jason Black. This is Bill calling out of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
All right, Bill out of Minneapolis. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. I've been enjoying your broadcast tonight, and there's so many parallels to what I've been seeing out here in Minneapolis. In particular, too, they've been constructing this huge, massive railroad project since back in 2010, and literally it's expanded all the way out from Minneapolis to St. Paul, and now they're extending it pretty much through the southern metro area, and literally in also other areas like cities like Edina, Wayzata, Minnetonka, and even some areas like Hopkins down in the metro area. They're literally basically taking down old apartment buildings and basically reconstructing new expensive apartment buildings, and literally driving out a lot of the poor, black residents in those specific towns out of those areas, and basically sending them down elsewhere, way down south in Minnesota. So when you're talking about, all the construction projects that basically you were talking about in Nashville, I'm seeing it all the way out there in Minneapolis. And more importantly, too, when they basically built up these new apartments in these specific areas, in these specific cities outside of Minneapolis, they're literally bringing in all the illegals, and they're going to start bringing them in and basically giving all the benefits they need to pretty much live in those specific apartment complex areas. I saw that literally back when the Somalis came into Minnesota. The Minneapolis Council literally gave them Riverside, literally a town that is on the West Bank campus of the University of Minnesota. So literally,
I was just watching on the news
as well.
There's some Somalis there who've run a multi-million-dollar real estate scam there. Got the U.S. Attorneys General there. So yeah, I try to keep up with as much as I can. But by the way, yeah, I saw that on the news there. Y'all should see there's one good thing I do like about YouTube is it gives me news from everywhere. So I guess the algorithm does read without look up, and it gives me news from everywhere. And by the way, in Minneapolis, yeah, the Somalis, they're a multi-million-dollar real estate scam. Now they're going after other Somalis. But by the way, they brought so many of them over here now that they can run a multi-million-dollar real estate scam on each other. That's what they've done. Now, as far as Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities thing, that's always just been this kind of weird area. I don't mean weird in an insulting way. It's always been this kind of unusual thing because it's not like it's Colorado or beachfront territory or something like that. But it's always just been a place where people came to, and it's just been kind of strangely, attractive to a certain population. But Minneapolis has really been a place that has really grown by leaps and bounds, particularly in the last 25 years. It's really one of those places like that. If you like snow, I guess you're going to go there. But absolutely, you're correct. It isn't anything to sleep on. There's literally billions of dollars of development going on there. It's not my cup of tea geographically, but I got people there. And yes, it's one of those places where Minneapolis, for most of you there, think Colorado, think Denver. That's what they're doing in Minneapolis. It's like that there. That's the kind of thing that's going on. It's that kind of environment. It's that kind of vibe. It's that kind of yuppieism. It's that kind of thing going on there. So there's only a certain segment of the population that's actually going to support that. And that's what it's going to be. So when they get done, it's going to be, they're going to want that to be a megalopolis when they get done. When they get done, that's what you'll be looking at. It's going to be this weird giant condominium is what it's going to be when they get done. It's going to be this weird giant condominium that's going to be hella expensive. I'll let you have the last word.
You actually are 100% correct. I mean, I meant because my family are Eritreans, and we basically seen this firsthand about what's going on in Minneapolis. So it's really, if you don't live there and you haven't seen how the city has been pretty much, been developed and how it's basically benefiting a lot of the Somalis over there. It's going to be pretty much a Somali mall. Let's just put it that way. So, and I'm going to land my plane.
They've made a lot of strides to do that. I mean, it's definitely working. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. And you wouldn't think about that when you hear the word Minneapolis or St. Paul, Minnesota. You wouldn't really think that that's really a poppin' place, and it is. But the buffer class strategy is in full effect there, and it's not on its way. It's working. They pretty much got that sewn up at this point. And of course, they consider us to be the issue, by the way. They're bringing these folks over here, these Somalians over here, and they're targeting us. By the way. So much for Pan-Africanism. Let me get called from area code 310. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Larry D. Calling from Los Angeles, California.
Okay, Larry from Los Angeles, and what's on your mind?
I just wanted to agree with you about the Bird Park and that area, stuff like that. It's pretty much over with for LA. I grew up out here, born out here really, and left as an adult, had stayed gone for more than about 10 short years and came back. Chocolate City, Los Angeles was no more. It was like 70% Mexican at that point. And I'd say it's a ratio of every 50 people you see walking down the street or anywhere driving, every 50 people you see, you're going to see a black person. And every 9 houses you walk past down any block, it's going to be mostly Hispanic, with an addition of about 4 RV trailers parked in the backyards. Black people here, I don't know about anywhere else, but it apparently probably spread like it, but I believe our people are demon possessed. And in the old Latin language that breaks down the word Democrat, it comes out translated demon rule. And it has now taken root, and formation within the mind and reality of black people. These guys are, I hear it everywhere. And my family broke my heart this 4th of July. Just on the visit to them.
In Los Angeles, that's a real issue right there. Y'all deal with your older folks, you deal with your relatives, you deal with your kinfolk, you get with them, and you start to hear that kind of stuff. And I was talking about that a few days ago. That's actually a rather common thing when you get them together like that. You start hearing how you ended up here. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me go ahead and talk about LA one more time. LA, I tried to warn you a decade ago. Jason Black has been sounding the alarm now going on 2 decades. I did a film about it. I've actually done 2 really, but I did a film about it. Gentrified. I sat there and went up and down Skid Row. I need to remind you, the Supreme Court just ruled that it is not cruel or unusual punishment to remove homeless people from the sidewalk, which they're correct, it isn't. But this idea that you can just camp out on the sidewalk and you can make that your home and whatnot, I warned you, they're going to come through and clean up Skid Row. Now the Supreme Court has ruled that they can do that. I always warned y'all, they gonna come. Niggas try to act like they know what's going on. They don't, even in Los Angeles. They are gonna show up in Skid Row one day, just like Texas came with a convoy of buses, picked up all the illegals and sent them somewhere else. You're gonna see that on Skid Row. Now, they might not bring all the buses in one day, but by the way, now they're gonna start clearing out Skid. First, they're gonna start with downtown. First, the police are going to start enforcing vagrancy downtown. They're going to start enforcing loitering downtown. You can't just stand around downtown. They're going to clean it up first. That's the easiest one. That's low-hanging fruit because they've already bled over to downtown, so we're going to go ahead and clean it up real quick. The mayor's going to hide behind the Supreme Court, but she's going to use this and go ahead with it. Hell, Governor Newsom has already said it. He's already talking about how they're going to do it. So much for being at odds with the Supreme Court. White supremacy takes both sides of the argument. And then they're going to start moving on them streets, 6th Street, 7th Street. They're going to start moving in front of the businesses where you're blocking the doors and stuff. They're going to go block by block. Now, they might not do it this year, but in case you didn't know, the Supreme Court has said, yeah, you don't have a right to sleep on the sidewalk. And you don't. But by the way, they just said you don't have a right to do that. In other words, every city in America now, that thing that said it was cruel and unusual to remove them because they have a right to a home. Yeah, they have a right to a home. They just don't have a right to sleep on the sidewalk and obstruct the home. You can't do that. So there you go. You thought that was going to go on for decades. I've been warning you. Oh, this is going to end. And it's going to end soon. Well, here it is. Roland Martin didn't predict it. They didn't tell you. But by the way, I said it was going to happen, and I said it was going to happen soon. Not 50 years. I'm like, no, we're right around the corner from it. Bam, I didn't get done with my next documentary film, and here we are. Exactly what I called. I want to thank everyone here, by the way, who has contributed to support tonight's program here. We're currently at 118. I want to thank everyone very much for your support. I want to know, though, who's going to put us over 120. I want to know who's going to put us over 120 tonight. Is that you? Let me get caller from area code 617. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Steve Wilson, Jason, Boston, Mass. How you doing, brother?
All right, Mr. Wilson, and what's on your mind?
Jason, man, you're right, man. Here in Boston, what little section we did have Black Boston, I couldn't even get a good bowl of grits today.
Dude, y'all don't even want. I've been talking about Boston now for 15 years, folks. Boston was over 15 years ago. black folk have really just kind of been hanging tough squatting in Boston. But downtown corridor, they're flat. They done gave all that away. They're developing the hell out of it. And it's already over in Boston. And first of all, they're already racist as hell to begin with. So it's not like you got a bunch of friends there. But Boston, it's done. It's been done. They're just they're not fighting with black folk. It's really white folk fighting with each other about who gonna get to develop what. But Boston's already a wrap. There's nothing you can do with that. That's like San Francisco.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And you know Boston and San Fran are sister cities. And what's left over in our black communities, we fight amongst ourselves with the Caribbean community. So appreciate the work. I'll donate right now. B1.
B1, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Like I say, yeah, Boston, I mean, Boston been done. Boston been done. Been done. I mean, that was a deliberate, conscious effort in the case of Boston. That's not accidental economic deprivation. That was planned from the bottom to the top. Been that way. Deval Patrick, my ass. Caller from area code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Bobby. I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, Bobby from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jason, I just wanted to say thank you for tonight's broadcast and everything that you have shown me and everyone else today. It reminded me of a conversation that I had with my eldest aunt when I was living with her. And long story short, she was wondering why we couldn't go out on our own and grind our way through to make our own name. And I told her that part of the problem was, one, the dollar, the U.S. dollar doesn't go as far as it used to, 30, 35 years ago when she came from Birmingham, Alabama to Atlanta, Georgia, and bought her home. Secondly, the job opportunities are, the good job opportunities are few and far between, especially for us as black people. And a shining example of that is in the section of Summerhill. Because I don't know if you know about what happened with Summerhill, but when the Braves left, part of the problem was there was no development around Turner Field. Well, now the Braves have gone, and if you go down to Summerhill now, you have 2 new apartment complexes that have been built and a third one on the way. And right across the street from the old Turner Field is a shopping complex that they just built. And now you have an array of businesses in that area. And the majority of the people who are living there now is a mixture of black and white. But if you go up north, all the way up to North Point and Alpharetta, you have white, Hispanic, and Southeast Indians. And a lot of those Southeast Indians are learning of what's happening in Summerhill, and they're starting to move down here into the city. And I'm glad you brought up that point about the homeless population, because they're going to do that in downtown Atlanta, because downtown Atlanta has a lot of black homeless people down there. And mark my words, they're going to start sending the Atlanta police to move all those people out of those areas, because they're going to start redoing downtown like crazy. I mean, I don't know.
Olympic Park.
I don't know where we're going to go.
I want everyone in Atlanta to mark my words. Keep your eyes on Olympic Park. Keep your eyes on that.
Okay.
Well, Jason, why are you saying that? For the exact same reason when you take a look at Hudson Yards, when you take a look at Long Island City, when you take a look at now what they're building with Lincoln Yards. Jason, what are you getting at? Olympic Park is a large piece of real estate that is essentially being preserved for no real explicable reason. Now, you're supposed to only have used that once, and yet you've simply left it sitting there. And so it's basically what you've done is put a fence around it and say, we're not going to do anything with this, which means you have plans to do something with it. So you're going to reserve this real large piece of real estate, and that will be the final big juicy bite that will be taken out of downtown Atlanta for maximum profit and value. In other words, take a look at downtown Miami, Brickell. You take a look at the Kimpton Epic. I don't know if you've been to downtown Miami, but the Kimpton Epic and the Marriott Marquis down there on Biscayne. You got the two of those by each other. They're so damn tall that they're almost too tall for the airplanes, for the airport coming from Miami Airport. The planes are so damn close, scares you when you look at them going overhead. But those are two big, tall buildings down there, and they really is a shame because they block the damn view of everything. Everybody used to be able to sell a view of the bay from there. Now you can't do that anymore. But that wasn't what they were waiting on. Those two are major things. Having the Kimpton built was major. Having the Marriott Marquis built was major, but that wasn't the last. The last big juicy bite was the Aston Martin building. That was the last one. Super prime real estate, right there in front on the water, right there in front of the bay, and you got to buy these. You can't rent, and it's going for that thing is going for New York prices. And I'm looking at Atlanta, and I'm like, I'm just giving y'all a heads up because one day you're going to see this. I don't know exactly when, but I'm just telling you right now, I see what they're doing. One day they're going to go ahead and develop Olympic Park. One day they're going to do it, and when they do, most likely it's going to be the most expensive real estate in the city of Atlanta when they do, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's going to have to because given the location of it. But the main thing for me is it's one thing to develop it, but the problem that they don't seem to understand is how can you keep people down there? Because the prices, as you just mentioned, they're going to be New York prices or San Francisco prices. And yeah, it looks good from the outside, but once you get in it and you really get down the rabbit hole, you're going to say to yourself, this is not worth me paying all this money.
It wouldn't be worth it for you. It's going to be definitely worth it for the white folk, the ones who fled to Buckhead and things. They've been waiting to come back and retake downtown. So, it'll be more than worth. Okay, here's the thing. Folks from Atlanta, and it can be hard when you live in a city. So this is why you really need, I'm not trying to toot my horn. I'm just saying you need somebody like me who doesn't live there and doesn't see it through some of those jaded eyes. I want to tell you, dude, I love going down to the Westin downtown. Especially in the mornings. I know for you in Atlanta, it's just another sunrise or whatever. But for somebody like me who doesn't want to have to deal with the New York stuff like that, I love seeing that, being able to look out the floor-to-ceiling windows downtown or the W downtown. So for those of you who live there, maybe you're just kind of, you're kind of over it because you live there. But what I'm saying is that, no, if they build some 1,500 square foot condos and stuff like that, with a view of downtown or the loop or whatever, I'm telling you, it's going to go. Oh, it's going to go. They're going to go all day. They're going to go all day for $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. They're going to go all day, especially once you start getting the penthouses. They're going to go for $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million all day. Believe every word I'm saying. And when that happens, then you're going to see, they're probably going to prep it before even that happens, but that'll just be the capstone on it. Everybody else got to go. I don't even know if you can keep the Waffle House. To be totally honest. That might got to go too.
Yeah, they'll find a way to keep that Waffle House down there. Believe me when I tell you that.
No, it's going to be a Ruth's Chris. It's going to be a Ruth's Chris or something there. It's got to go. It'll be too expensive.
No, what I'm saying, what I'm saying is they're going to have to build other businesses around that area to support everything.
Oh, y'all don't even want to know. Okay, that parking garage, that old dilapidated one, not the big nice one that takes pictures of your license plate. That old dilapidated one over there, where the big video screen is by the Westin, the old dilapidated parking garage. Mark my words, they're gonna knock that down. That's gonna be one of the ones they knock down. Mark my words. And you're gonna start seeing the kind of business, the kind of development that you see with Hudson Yards and Lincoln Yards, and down there in the financial district in New York, right across the street from the World Trade Tower. That's what it's gonna look like. The Westin will be the crown jewel. They've already put that in place. You can't fool with that on no level. You're gonna see another mega tall built. Look, here's what you're looking for. You're looking for them to pull a permit to build a mega tall. Something that will be the size of the Westin or taller. That's what you're looking for. And when you see that one, That'll be the final economic bomb they're going to set off downtown. And at that point, everybody else, they're going to come buy everybody else out. And then you'll just see them build a bunch of ritzy stuff. So they may build some smaller condos, but it's going to be a bunch of expensive restaurants, expensive cafes, Panera Bread, yoga studios, and it'll be walking only downtown. And now what you said about clearing out the homeless and everything else, yeah, block by block, y'all got to go. And they're going to move them out to Decatur or something like that. They're going to chase them out to Decatur, most likely. And that's a wrap. All the old money that's been hiding out in Atlanta, all the old money that's been hiding out, you're going to see them come downtown and say, yeah, we've been waiting a long time to get it. We got it.
My goodness.
Mark my words.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for giving us a call
appreciate
tonight. I know it can be a little sobering when Jason starts doing this. It can be a little sobering. For those of you who live in Los Angeles, when you go to downtown Los Angeles, I know you're over it. You know, you're kind of desensitized to it. You live there. You see it all the time. You don't see it with fresh eyes. So I have an advantage that you don't have. When I don't live in Los Angeles, so my perspective of looking at the LA skyline from Los Angeles is totally different from yours. People, I love the Wilshire Grand. I don't like the helicopters. I don't like the helicopters buzzing the damn building. I don't like that. But I love the Wilshire Grand. Los Angeles at night, you see Interstate 10 with the lights and whatnot, and you're so high up it's not disturbing you with the noise. As a person who doesn't live there, I love that. Nighttime, floor to ceiling windows, the skyline is gorgeous. Oh, it's beautiful. You can see all the way to the airport when you're in the lobby. I'm like, hey, I could live here. I could live here with no issues. No issues. Oh, I've already talked about the Bonaventure. That's my kicking spot. But the Wilshire Grant, I could live there easily. If they turn those things into condos, something, you could live there easily. Oh, it's beautiful. New York City, Mandarin Oriental. So right there by what's that? The skinny scraper they built there at Park. I don't know what the number is, 504 Park or 540 Park, whatever it is, overlooking Central Park. Let me tell you, there's a reason why those things are going for $20 million. $20 million a condo. There's a reason for that. So for those of you who live in New York, you might be kind of over it, but like they got folk from overseas buying, their own condos and their own lofts in those buildings there. So for those of us who don't live there, being above the hustle and bustle, you can look down on Columbus Square. You can look down on Central Park. You can see all the skyscrapers at nighttime. It's not overwhelming with the lights. I don't like the Nordstrom's building over there. I ain't big on that. That's annoying. And go tell the damn Nordstrom's people, turn that damn brightness down on that clock. I don't like that one. But I'm telling you, for a person who doesn't live there, I can see why they fighting to get down there. I wouldn't want to be in it. It's too damn congested. But to some of these other places, like Atlanta, that doesn't quite have that issue. I mean, 285, you get it, but y'all don't see what we see. You live there and you don't see. But let me go ahead and say something else. No disrespect to my folks in LA. Most of y'all don't live or even visit the high rises. Most people in Los Angeles have never been in a building that was more than 10 stories tall. They might have been to the observation deck of the City Hall, but most folks in New York, y'all don't actually go to these skyscrapers. You don't actually get to see your city from that tall. You're used to seeing it from the ground. For some of us who have to visit, and that's the only way we can get in there, I'm just telling you, we got a whole different view of it. Whole different view. By the way, somebody in the chat room talking about your dad worked for General Motors. Hey, Detroit, GM is selling their building downtown. I wonder if they're going to turn those into condos. What? I wonder if they're going to convert the General Motors buildings into residences. If they do, oh man. Now, they're probably going to keep it office space, I'm not sure. But if they do try to convert it into residences, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? At that point, Detroit, shut it down. If you have the ability to buy a loft with a view of the Detroit River, Goodwill Bridge, all the way over into Canada, Caesar's Palace, to have a view like that, oh, you're done. The whole city of Detroit, it's over. Gentrification complete. Call from area code 617. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Shell from Boston.
All right, Shell from Boston. And what's on your mind?
I just wanted to echo what the previous a couple of callers previously said. Our medium home price now, as of June, I think is like $987,000.
Oh yeah.
In the city, and then they're also building. I look at all the development plans for the city, 10 years out, but they've started to build LGBT plus communities only, with like lots of acreage for them, and you can't move in unless you're a member of that community. And they get, all kinds of benefits from the state. It's getting. We're the number one expensive state to live in the country right now.
Then now they're suing the Fearless Fund as black women, but then they're saying you can be all gay moving up in there and they'll all be white gays. So it's like, okay, tell me who we voting for again.
Exactly. Oh, like I want these Democrats out of here. We're the only state in the country that's never been audited in its since its conception. And we have a state auditor, but the governor will not let the state auditor do their job. So we don't even get to see where our taxes are going.
Oh, no, ma'am. Trust me, they are doing their job, and their job is for you not to see it. So everything's working out according to plan. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get called from area code 321. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, how you doing? This is Antoine from Orlando, Florida.
All right, Antoine from Orlando. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to call because, I was talking to my brother. He's a young guy. He's 28. He's mildly artistic, but he works as an electrician. And the reason I bring him up is that even him, who's not really into the news, he's basically saying the same thing you're saying. I barely talk to him about politics. That's another story. But he was talking to me, and that just made me realize I've been hearing a lot of young black people that are barely into the news, but they're like, I'm not voting for the Democrats. I don't know how. I asked him, I kept questioning him. He was basically saying the same talking points that you're saying, but I don't know. But he doesn't talk. He doesn't listen to you. I don't know where he's getting it from, and I barely talked to him about it. But there's definitely a cultural something going on that, because the reason why I'm bringing this up because he was at a family event for 4th of July. I wasn't there. And my grandmother, which is a baby boomer, was super upset that he was not voting for the Democrats. And they were just dogpiling on him all over. But he's still not voting for them. But, there's definitely something in the air. And back to your topic, I think I called you before about here in Orlando with Paramore. They basically wiped that out. So I just wanted to let you know about that.
I'll believe that when I see it. I wouldn't be surprised, Dr. Phillips and all that. I wouldn't be surprised that it's obviously sitting right there in front of you. I'll believe it when I like I say, it'll be something to see. Now, if you're saying the whole thing is gone, that would.
That's what I tell you. I want you to Google map that area, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It won't be what you remember it be.
Well, assuming that they've come through there recently. Remember, Google only comes through once every few years. But like I say, that would be like interesting.
That for like 3 years.
The whole thing?
Like 3 years. Yes, they got those new condos that they build all over the place.
Yeah,
I don't know what they call them. They have built. It's almost all of that in Paramore now. At one time, they only had one of them there. It's been like that. The whole downtown of Orlando's changed. Every time I drive through it, it looks different.
Have they made it to that little?
Orlando
I'm not really sure. Mm-hmm. There's a little streets over there and stuff like that. It's just hard for me to remember here. It's very hard for me to remember. it's obvious here. I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I don't want to talk on things I don't know. It's obvious that what they were going to do, sure. I figure we had another 10 years. So if you're saying that all of it's gone, I can see one block being gone, but I don't know, brother. I have to see that. I'd have to see that right there. Now, if they went ahead and did it, then I'm like, okay, they just went for it. Because, okay, now there is the one thing. It wasn't a good look when old boy killed his girlfriend and then killed the cop, and then the other cop gets killed, and the police. That made the block eternally hot. That made the block hot. That right there made international headlines. So it's like, they gonna come for all of y'all. They're coming for this whole area over here. Just because he did that, they coming for the whole area over here. So that much was for certain. But if you're saying they went and got like 5 or 6 blocks already and just they're gone, I'm like, they ain't fooling around.
Because if you look, even if you Google search this yourself. They built that big soccer arena for Orlando. I forgot that team. When I knew it was over when they built that arena for the soccer team over there. But if you remember where the old arena used to be, you don't have to have the Amway.
No. Just remember, Jason's the guy. Drive by on the freeway, take some pictures, and stuff. So I try to remember as much as I can. Like I say, for example, I remember some of these things, for example, because the big one downtown, I remember it because like they got these big electronic billboards. So if you're driving by, it tells you what the place is, and like if there's Jerry Seinfeld or somebody coming to town or something like that. So that's the reason why I can mark those things mentally. But as far as like, this arena over here and that arena over there, if it's not really right off the freeway or something or off a major thoroughfare or something, I'm not going to pretend I know if I don't.
You can't see it from the I-4. It's literally right in the middle of Paramore, where that arena is at. Literally right in the middle. Like you see the arena, and right across the street you see one broken down house. That's what I mean by that. If you remember where the old arena was, all of that is like these nice condos now. All of it. At first it was just empty there because when they knocked that down, they just kind of left it empty for a couple of years. Now it's like this really nice subdivision, like those new condos. I don't know what those condos things are called, but they're building. I mean, they're building that all over Orlando, to be honest with you. But they're definitely downtown. If you come back to Orlando, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's totally different.
You speak about Interstate 4. Last time I was there, they were still doing construction on it. So the last time I was
done
there
already.
Okay, they finished. I figured they finally got done with it. So last time I was there, they were doing construction on it. So it's been a minute, but that's a telltale sign right there too. When the construction on the freeway is done, if they got plans for you about to get done in.
Oh yeah, downtown is done. They are trying to build up, since you mentioned Dr. Phillips over there at Sand Lake. They're building some type of something crazy down there. But yeah, all that's done. That's been done for a couple of years. Over there in Interstate 4, that's been done. But I promise you, come down to Orlando, your mouth will drop. It's way more advanced than you think.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta make some. When I get done with all the work and stuff, it'll probably be a year or so until I can have some time to go travel again and stuff like that. Like I finish my film, but like you can tell, it's been years since I've been able to take a look at anything. I'm not, astonished. It's going to be very hard to astonish me. It's just like where Paramore, that area was concerned. I'm just like, okay, because like there's a freeway going through there, and so you got some structures you really can't move. And I thought we'd be like another decade away, but if they did that, it's just like, we got Governor DeSantis and we just doing the bums rush on you now. We can just do you how we gonna do you. Oh. So it's just, you got him behind you. Oh, that's a route.
Oh yeah. They have a whole bunch of nothing but new condos on there. They pushing everybody out. Matter of fact, they had like a little tent city down there on Paramore. They kicked them out.
Oh yeah, them sheriffs down there in Florida. It's just like, they do as they please. They do as they please. So it's just, no, you're not gonna make any headway there. So I can believe it. It would just be something for to see in that regard. It's just like, folks, when I tell you Florida's gone, it's gone. It's just, it's gone. It's the whole state. The whole state. The whole state.
Let me back you up with Tampa, because I used to live in Tampa 10 years ago. My daughter lives in Tampa. Yeah, you're right, because it used to be Tampa was cheaper for some odd reason. For a couple of years, Tampa was cheaper to live in than Orlando. but now it's just as expensive, if not more. I didn't know it was a Tom Brady thing. I just knew it happened. I'm like, why is it more expensive now?
Oh yeah,
But,
when I saw that happen, I think folks, everybody yelling about Orlando and whatnot, everybody yelling about that, and I'm just like, yeah, and I had been through Tampa already. I'm like, okay, this is really a bastard stepchild over here, and I didn't. It took me a minute to put the pieces together because I'm like, why would Tampa fight so hard to get Brady down here? Why would you do this? Because it doesn't seem to make sense. I'm like, the only way this will make sense is if he comes down here and immediately wins the Super Bowl. Now, if you can pull that off, then that changes the whole image of the city. I'll be damned if he didn't come straight down there and go straight to the Super Bowl. When I saw that happen, I said, oh, it's a wrap. I saw the freeways. I'm like, oh, it's a wrap. It's done. Because I know they had the signs down there welcoming him and stuff. When I saw that, it's over. He's going to redo this whole damn, like Nick Saban did for the state of Alabama. That's what Brady did for Tampa. I'm like, you're done. You're done. That's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing about it is that unlike Orlando is really built out in that regard, Tampa still has a ways to go. So some of the stuff you want to do in Orlando and didn't have the room, developers got the ability in the room, and now it's got the name and the prestige to it to go ahead and do it in Tampa. So it's like, oh, here you go. Oh, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
But it kind of makes sense what you said, because when I used to live in Tampa, this 10 years ago, they would have more events in Tampa. Like I'm talking about like musicians and celebrities would always be down there all the time. And I always wonder why they would be there more than Orlando. At that time, Orlando had a bigger name. But after it's going what you're going, I guess it's been a long-term plan for them.
Dude, listen to me, everybody. I've been talking about this earlier today. You all need to go investigate your cities and go check out their master plans. Every major city and most mid-sized cities in America have what's called a master plan. It's usually a 20-year plan. If you all go and check it out, you'll find out, I'll be damned, there's not a whole lot that will surprise you. The only thing they're really trying to figure out is what's politically feasible and what they can get away with. But they got master plans. No city government is a business. They want to make as much revenue as they can. Taxes are revenue. Business generation is revenue. Nobody's trying to figure out how to make their city cheaper. Nobody. Everybody trying to figure out how they can be the next Manhattan. Everyone. And you have the misfortune of being someplace and grossly underestimating what these people's real plans are. Literally, government operates like business now. They want to see how much the market will bear. Just sit back and let the business folk do what they do as long as they bring the profits in. And even if the balloon bursts or whatever, it's like, okay, well, they got to hold the balloon, not us. So everywhere you go, the whole state of Florida, the only thing y'all are going to be able to do in a minute is get that panhandle. That's going to be the only thing you can get here in a minute. And even that's going to be gone soon. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller area code 210. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Lorenzo from San Antonio, Texas.
All right, Lorenzo from San Antonio, and what's on your mind? Don't get me, by the way, don't get me started about San Antonio, Texas either. Y'all don't know what's happening. If y'all have not been, if you're a person who has just been focusing on Dallas and Houston and Austin, and you've been selling San Antonio short for the last 20 years, y'all don't know what's popping in San Antonio, Texas right now. You talk about a bastard stepchild that's been ignored because everybody's been looking at the two megalopolises, Dallas and Houston, and then Austin been blowing up lately. San Antonio been flying under the radar like a son of a gun. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, when I moved out there, when I was in the military, people told me I lived in the country because I live like right on the line between Barrett County and I can't remember the other counties. But man, I just went home. I'm a truck driver. I went home last week, and I mean the area where there used to be trees, it's all housing development.
San Antonio has a population of 1.5 million people. Let me say it again. San Antonio has a population now of 1.5 million people. If you left 10 years ago, you missed the whole damn blow up.
I mean, I honestly believe it's higher than that, but I go by the census as well. because I mean, I was getting an Uber ride from a Latino lady, and she was talking about how the government can't stop them from coming. And I was like, I don't think she's wrong, man. I mean, it's just like the area that I live in is just constantly growing. And I was just gonna say that I was doing a delivery here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm originally from South Carolina, and just periodically, whenever I come back home or through the Carolinas, even now, I was at the Costco, and I was just like, Jesus, man. It almost looks like you watching some movie set in New York, because when I grew up, there were black people, there were white people, and certain parts of the year, folks would come up from Guatemala or something and do some, farm work or something. And I was like, I could almost go to any part of this country now, and I see the whole, diversity thing.
Well,
But
remember
that was just
when Barack Obama ran for president back in 2008, John McCain was talking about bring over all the illegals because they're going to do what the Americans ain't doing. So I want you all to understand, do you realize that was 16 years ago? John McCain, when he said that, all of us watching, that was 16 years ago. We are literally over a decade and a half down the road now. That's what I'm saying. Folks got to update their files. We way down the road from that now. That's been government policy. You're 16 years later. Folks, we way down the road. And you talk about Charlotte. I mean, Interstate 40 is a damn zoo. I mean, it's as bad as anything on 635 in Dallas. 40 is a damn zoo. But hell yeah, the parkway out there, when you get off the freeway and stuff. Oh, dude, y'all don't even want to. Folks who ain't from there don't even want to know, man. It's Charlotte is already blown up at this point right now. The only thing that Charlotte has going for it is the housing tends to be generally of a cheaper build. The housing is really flimsy. I'm sorry, from a construction standpoint, it's really flimsy. But then again, you got a bunch of illegals building it. So you got a bunch of housing that's being built on the cheap. I guess they feel like they can get away with it because, they don't have tornadoes. They're not really part of Tornado Alley that way. I think they're really gambling badly. I think they're gambling real badly. But it's very clear they got cheap housing. The housing was built cheap. So I'm like, okay, do y'all really realize what you're doing? But they're trying to get it done as quick as they can, which they have done. But, it's Charlotte's a wrap at this point. Everything now is going to be about slowly getting the black folk out, and they're just going to keep the prices going up and up and up. Forget it. That's a banking city. That's a banking city, and they want that carved out, and that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. It's like, I'll be honest, in the last few years, I realized I've been living in a haze. It's like an awakening, like seeing the world just change around you. I'm like, I don't know where black folks are going to go. Because what my question was going to be, do you think that they're going to make us politically irrelevant, or that we have already been politically irrelevant because they never acquiesced?
I have to be the referee. I got to call it right down the middle. I said it over a decade ago. When the places where black folk don't need to be, I wrote off the whole state of California 15 years ago, and literally everything has borne me out. I warned everyone about Colorado and Florida. Everything has borne me out. I'm warning people about the state of Texas, with folk talking about what could never happen. You'll have all the black folk blocked down there in Houston, and economically you'll be sidelined there. Here's what they do to us. What they do to us is, even in cities where we have numbers, they just basically maneuver us all off and push us off and herd us off into one little old corner of it, and then that becomes the black district. So that's what's happening now, is they just push us off into one area. That becomes the black district. And so, yeah, you got one black district, so you'll have one black councilman. Yeah, but everybody else is not black, so it doesn't matter what he does. Everybody can outvote him. That's the strategy that they're using and been using and replicating everywhere that they go. So in many places in America, we're not on our way to being politically irrelevant. We're already there. California, we're already there. And you're having to rely on the courts in California because politics ain't really helping us. Colorado, same thing. Dallas, to a large extent, same thing. Minneapolis, you saw what happened there, from Philando Castile to George Floyd. That's the very, where are your black politicians to speak up for us? That's the very definition of politically irrelevant. So Harlem, New York, I can go down the damn list. Boston, Mass. So bruh, in many places, yeah, we're already, the state of Florida, southern Florida, central Florida, black folk are basically politically irrelevant. What black folk used to do in Florida was hang on to the major cities, but they pretty much push black folk into irrelevance in most of them. They're kind of still kind of relevant in Miami, but the numbers are not going good there. So, you know, when you get Jacksonville and Tallahassee, so you're relying on the large urban centers for the black vote there, but you're being outnumbered and overrun on the whole. So what I'm saying is that this is a war of attrition, and every year they're chipping away at you more and more and more. So no, you're not going to lose it in 1 year. No, you're going to lose it in 20 years. Or what I'm seeing now, 10 years. So in many of these places, brother, we're already there. I'm just trying to sound the alarm as much as I can so that we don't sit up here and keep backing policies that got us into this mess in the first place, talking about black and brown.
Yeah, I learned about that in the military. That ain't true.
You got Negroes sitting up here in places talking about black and brown. You talking about San Antonio, Texas. Remember that? Y'all remember that truck driver who called me from Texas and one night? He's like, I'm going with these white Latinos here tonight. I'm like, okay, brother, I hope you make it back alive. I'll let you have the last word.
Man, I mean, you pretty much just said what was on my mind. I've been flabbergasted. I was like, Jesus, they had us, you know, asleep basically, thinking that, you know, I was born in 81, thinking that it was post-racism and everybody was getting along. And meanwhile, basically everybody was using us as a fucking using us as a trampoline, you know? And I'm just like, I wonder if black people in this country are able to get reparations, if that would be a way to at least build some sort of enclaves where you can start building businesses. I mean, you can't separate from the American economy. And to be honest, I don't, as bad as we might get treated in this country, I don't know why you would want to, because there ain't going to be nowhere else in the world where, you know, they're going to be super accepting of you. But I'm just like, I won't even lie. I'm just like, yo, these people are slowly eradicating us.
Well, in some cases, they're doing it slowly, but in other cases, they're doing it lightning fast. Or should I say, like the old economist said, when you're going bankrupt, he said, nobody goes bankrupt suddenly. You go bankrupt a little bit at a time and then all at once. That's how you get ethnically cleansed. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. You get ethnically cleansed. They take a bite out of you a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And then you wake up one day and realize now it's all at once. So they soften you up over the course of years, and then they close in for the kill. But they didn't just close in for the kill in one day. They've been softening you up for years. They've been softening you up for years, and your political class and your academic class and your media class ain't said nothing. I want to thank you all for supporting us on tonight's program here. I want to find out who's going to get us over 120 tonight. We got over 1,000 people back in 8 a.m. And that's a good start on that. I want to find out here who's going to put us over 120 for tonight. Let me get caller from area code 443. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Mo from West Baltimore, TBA.
All right, Mo from West Baltimore, and what's on your mind?
Man, listen, I just want to say, man, I know every time I call it sounds like I'm singing your praises because you absolutely deserve it, bro. You always, when you come to us with your broadcast, you always start off by saying you're a humble servant, and I know you mean that with the most humility, man, because you said what you said all the time about how you feel about your ego can't be, you know, taken up or taken down. But listen, everybody within my earshot, man, we are in the midst of the top intellectual genius in Black America, man, with TBA, and we gotta support. You know, 8 a.m., man, 8 a.m. That's what it is. That's what's going on right now. You know, last time I called, you know, and I ain't trying to pat myself on the back. $125, you know what I mean, is what I contribute. I'm getting the DVD, the autographed DVD. But I'm just saying, whatever anybody can contribute, you know what I mean, do that, man, because we got to put our money where our mouth is. We cannot get this type of in-depth analysis at such a grassroots level, the way him, Tyreek, Professor Black Truth, the way they deliver it to us, man. We not getting this nowhere else, and we gotta pay like we weigh. Real quick, in Baltimore here, TBA it is going down, man. Johns Hopkins University, they buying up everything over East Baltimore. University, hospital, buying up everything on the west side. And the east side of the harbor, when I go down there, TBA, I don't even know I'm in Baltimore no more. And I'm born and raised there, and I'm like, wow.
Oh, dude. Listen to me. In Baltimore, y'all should already know this. You probably already do. Bruh, when they rebuild that bridge...
Yeah.
Oh, you should see some of the plans that folks are already submitting. Believe it or not, there's firms that have already started submitting plans for rebuilding that bridge. When they rebuild that thing, that's going to be $1 billion project. When they rebuild that thing,
wow.
Understand me. I have been keeping tabs on that because I'm like, okay, that bridge, the bridge is too old, but it's in too much of a sensitive area. And I'm like, there's no way you're gonna go back with it the way it was. And I'm like, mark my words, when they get ready to rebuild it, that's gonna be $1 billion project. They already showing, and I'm talking about suspension, lights, the whole 9 yards. There's companies from around the world been submitting bids. As a matter of fact, no, I'm sorry. The state is already taking submissions. For those of you who didn't know, the state Maryland is already taking, they've already got a website set up for it and everything. They've been taking submissions now for a couple of months about drafts for the new bridge and what it's going to look like and how it's going to be built. So, I mean, they want like green energy and lights and stuff and all this old craziness. But, I mean, already, and I'm talking about, oh, dude, that's going to be a cornerstone when they get done. That's going to be a cornerstone when they get done. So, I know y'all about Johns Hopkins and stuff. I'm like, boy, they even turning tragedy into it. So, things is moving. Things is moving. So some of these old places that look like old towns, which Baltimore is, Baltimore, Philadelphia, when they have an opportunity to start take a big bite, they're going to do it. It's going to be a little bit harder for them because of how entrenched it is. It's not easy to get around Baltimore. It's not like one of those places. These older places grew up real fast. So it's kind of hard to get around them. It's not like some of the stuff in the South that you can build as you're going along, or in the Midwest that you can plan out as you go along. So they have to just take bites out of you as they go. So it's going to be slower going than it is in a lot of other areas, but you're absolutely right. It's slower going, but they're still going.
Yeah, it's going. You are so right, TBA. Last thing I want to say, 120 is the mark. My fellow listeners, out there in the B1 family, and who listen to and hang on the words of the new black media. 120 is the mark tonight, man. Y'all can do it, man. We can do it. It's us, because all we got is us, man. Ain't nobody rocking for us, and that's what TBA drives home more than anything else. Thank you, bro.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. We appreciate that. Like I say, I mean, I'm not one of these folks who just talks about this. I've been doing this now for over a decade and a half. I've traveled the country. I try to see where you all are actually living at, which is why I can name these places, name these streets, name these corridors, name these buildings. I don't want to just talk about what my people are going through. I want to be able to tell you, hey, this is where you at. This is what you're really dealing with. The politicians are talking about you like an anecdote. They're talking about you like you're not even a human being. They can't name where you at. They can't talk about exactly what you're going through. They can't name the blocks. They can't name the subdivisions. They can't name the areas. They can't name the current events. Tell me how it is that you got multi-million-dollar folk like Tom Joyner and Ricky Smiley and the rest of them, and they ain't even talking about what the hell happening in their own damn cities. What? I got to call it for what it is. They ain't even calling things out straight in their own cities. How you gonna be able to vote and somebody tell you shut up and vote, and the man in the media ain't even been talking about what's happening on your block? For even the mayor's race. They're not even talking about what's going on with the mayor's race, city council, and then telling you shut up and vote. They can shut the hell up. Call them area code 954. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Last try, caller from area code 954. You're on live. Caller from area code 954 has been abducted. Caller from area code 409. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Rashad, Houston, Texas.
All right, Rashad in Houston, and what's on your mind?
Just want to piggyback off what you yourself and a lot of the previous callers have been saying. Would run down two things quick as I can, and I'll hang up and get your spill on it. But quiet as kept, Houston, Texas is slowly becoming a hub for the tech world.
Yes.
Like, as I know when you mentioned Houston, you think of the oil, oil and gas industry. But I'll say this real quick.
That's been a long-term project that started under Sylvester Turner. So that idea of doing that, I don't know how smoothly that's going to go. I think Austin is really going to suck all the oxygen out of the room, but Houston is at least making a go for it. So I think on the manufacturing side, there's a lane for Houston. As far as the technology side, I'm not so sure about that. I think Austin's going to suck about Austin and Dallas are going to get that. But as far as manufacturing, I think Houston's got a lane.
Well, check this out. You got Houston is slowly becoming a satellite for Southern California commercially and residential because Hewlett Packard has moved its headquarters out here, and then you got Google and you got Amazon looking at places to move their headquarters. But check this out. I'm sure you know when you come into Houston on I-10 and you come in as far as you can to take the 59 South exit to go downtown. So you got Bennett Maid and George R. Brown Convention Center on your right side when you take that 59 South exit. For about 20 years, like if you pass that up and take the McGowan and that exit right there, you got these exclusive condos on the left side, then you got these exclusive neighborhoods on the right side. And like I said, for 20 years, people have been complaining about the homeless population there, and pretty much Houston has turned a blind eye. But it's real funny now when you drive down there. The city has literally fenced off 59 underneath 59 right there where that homeless camp has been for over 20 years. And I tell you this, Jason, I promise you, there are places in Houston, like when I was a kid, people would laugh at. Like you talk about you going north, you're going to like Conroe, you're going to Willis. You go south, like Pearland used to be the posh place for black
there
people
you go.
when they have money.
There you go. I was about to say it. Now I was about to say they talk about Sugarland, but I was about to say. By the way, folks, I can't believe folks are still sleeping on Pearland at this point.
Hey, but check this out. Those places, like I say, black people used to laugh at. Jason, you go to like Conroe and Willis, these people are throwing up subdivisions faster than you can blink. And black people, like I said, a place we used to laugh at, black people are moving out there faster than you can
brother,
take
all around. Now, for those of you who don't live in Houston, you won't know what he's talking about. You have to go Google Maps or something. But brother, the whole Beltway, following the whole damn Beltway, you know that's basically tracking everything going along there.
Yeah. Hey, and one more thing. Like I said, I'm gonna hang up and let you get your spill on it. I grew up in two cities. So I grew up, divorced parents. I grew up in Beaumont, and then I grew up in Houston too. So there's a place. It's a notorious black neighborhood. It's called Sunnyside. It's Southwest Houston. Like you take the Scott exit off 610. Sunnyside has always been a war zone. That literally, like, if there's a place, if you ain't from out there, don't get caught out there. Jason, I promise you drove through Sunnyside now, you could just stay on the 610 feeder road. You got shotgun house, $500,000 house. Shotgun house, $500,000 house. Like you were saying earlier. I promise.
Yeah. Let me explain that.
15 years.
Let me explain that to the people there, because, like I say, once again, I'm glad you're getting off into this here, so I'm going to hold you for a minute, because you're from Houston. Folks who are not from Houston don't know this. Houston does not have zoning. So for those of you who are not from the Houston area, you might not know, Houston doesn't have zoning. So that's why you can see things like that. Now, Houston's got floodplains, but for those of you who didn't know, Houston does not have zoning. So it can be real weird the way you see things made out like that. But yeah, shotgun house, condominium here. It's like, yeah, that happens in Houston. But guess what?
Yeah,
one of the structures is real old and rickety. The other one is new construction. Guess which one gonna run the yard here in 10 years?
Yeah, like you were saying. I guarantee you this, and like I just turned 45, so I've been in the city, pretty much all my life. In 10 to 15 years, you pass my sunny side, you won't know a nigga ever lived out there. That I'm serious. You talk about gentrification, that that invasion of Southern. Not say invasion because it's black people, so it's not one. I think invasion is harsh. The influx of people from Southern California, and you see the tech world slowly moving in here. I promise you, you pass by these areas where black people once congregated, it won't be any black person out there in 15 years. And like I say, I ain't gonna hold y'all, hang up and let you get your spill.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, like I said, that Houston area, man, what's happening is they're building out. They're going out, Sugarland, Pearland. You're moving out, but then it's kind of like a riptide, though. So, yeah, you see some of the flow moving outward, but then there's a strong current going back inward. So, mark my words, I just don't. It's going to be hard, in my opinion, to put a bunch of big industrial development in Houston because you already have a lot of big industrial development. I think right now it is really going to be about just residential. I think that's now really going to be residential in Houston. I think that's where the big push is going to be for Houston, Texas. And also when you consider they're putting in that rail line that's going to connect Dallas and Houston, what I'm telling you, and there's a lot of folks right here, there's a couple of YouTube videos that are already predicting this. I talked about this before, that you could be seeing the America's first mega city, that Houston and Dallas are going to keep growing. The Dallas Metroplex and Houston Metroplex are going to keep growing until eventually they start to merge with each other. Now, that would take a population growth to continue escalating, and I'm not so sure that that's going to occur, but I am telling you, if current trends continue, yeah, that could happen. Or at the very least, Dallas and Houston are going to be what we consider to be Dallas and Houston. Those areas are going to grow, even though there's municipalities between them. I get that, but I'm just saying that those are going to spur such tremendous growth between each other that there is going to be, right now, what you consider to be like an hour or so to get between them. Oh, no, it'll be a lot less. It'll be a lot less in 20 years. And everything they're doing right now is facilitating that. And what I'm saying is it'll only make things more expensive. By the way, it'll only make it more expensive. Call America 215. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Trinessa from Philly.
All right, Trinessa from Philadelphia. What's on your mind?
Yes. Hi. I almost kind of I was just thinking about the same thing, like for Philadelphia, where you talk about like shotgun houses. The city of Philadelphia has a plan, and whether black people are ready, they're moving forward. And one of the things that they've decided to do is to take neighborhoods, traditional black neighborhoods, and there may be shooting and things like that going on the block, and they're saying we're going to work on this one house and one empty lot at a time. And so the developers are coming out with this venture capital money, because a lot of times people say, where are they getting this money from? And they'll see like this house on the block, that house on the block, like 4 or 5 houses on the block that were empty lots or that were a shell or just non-functional. All of a sudden, all of those houses are now being developed. And the new concept is no longer take a single family row house and just make it a row house. Now turn it into a multi-purpose, multi-dwelling unit. So what they're doing is where that zoning wouldn't exist before to take a house and take the first level and make that an entire apartment, but take the second level, make it an apartment, and then create a new third level out of nowhere or a fourth level out of nowhere and put a rooftop and a deck so you can overlook the entire block. Now that's going on. So before, people were looking and they were thinking, how are they even going to do it? And there's so much development and so much movement. And it's right before the people's faces, and they don't know.
Yeah, I mean, all that's been going on for years. Up and down. 76 and 476. I'm trying to make sure I remember my numbers correctly. I think it's 476. I want to say 176, 276, 476. I want to say that's the numbers out there. Like everything's named 76. But I want to say like 76, 176, 276, 476. All that's been happening there. It's like, yeah, I mean, they're going, the event. It's like I say, once again, it's like Baltimore. It's harder to get around and to do that. You can't do mass clearing in a place like Baltimore or Philadelphia. It doesn't lend itself to that. In these older cities, it doesn't lend itself to that. So what they got to do is take a bite out of you, as she said, one block at a time, one house at a time. They got to eat this elephant bite by bite. They can't do like some other places and just eat the whole damn elephant. They got to take it bite by bite, but you're absolutely correct. What you have seen happen in Detroit, that is Philadelphia's future. Exactly. What you've seen in Detroit.
Yes, and I was on a call with the city of Philadelphia, and they have this new program, and it's called Turn the Key Solutions. And what they're doing is, never could people get valuation on their block. You know, you have your grandma, your great-grandma, she never could see more than $30,000 for that property on the block. And so now the city has came up with a new plan, and I said, oh, my goodness, the city is in on this. And so what they're saying is we have all these developers, they created all these houses, and now we have different blocks for you to choose from, and we'll give you $75,000 so that you can, as a down payment on a house. And what you can do is you can get a house. And you're thinking, isn't that the block where they're shooting like 3 times a week? And so the city is saying, this house is now worth $300,000. Now, every other house on the block may only be worth like $40,000, $50,000, maybe $60,000. But the city is saying, we're going to change the value of the neighborhood, and we're going to make it $300,000.
Yes.
And so now all these.
Yeah, they're going to declare it that way. Yes. That gentrification as ruled by
their level.
Gentrification is a part of government policy. And then everything else will follow that.
At their level.
Everything else will follow that when they get done. So they're permitting and what they allow to be built and stuff. Yeah, everything else will follow it.
Yes. Yes. And then people like myself, you know, we've been trying to get the permits, trying to do this, trying to get the properties. You see an empty house or empty lot or something on the block, and you've been trying to get it for 20 years. And now all of a sudden these developers, they got all of them. And now the city has put it in their land bank so that they're paying these developers. And they're saying, what price do you want for this house now that you're finished with it? We'll find all these buyers, and we will change the valuation of the entire block. So they're still shooting going on, but they'll take some person and they'll say, we'll give you $75,000 and you buy this house for $300,000. And now the person is thinking, but there's still shooting going on the block. And they're doing it one house at a time. And what's happening is the people are not understanding that are on the block. Now their taxes are going up because now there's a $300,000 house on the block. And then sooner or later, they're going to lose that house to taxes because they can't pay the new tax valuation. So it's a scheme. It's a crazy scheme, and it's going on right before our eyes.
Well, remember, whenever you have areas in America and stuff where there's a bunch of shooting going on, that's not accidental. That's for the purposes of preserving the status quo until the folks who want to close in for the kill can go ahead and do that. I think the brother was talking about that in Paramore in Florida there earlier. So just understand that's never accidental. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. In every city in America, they know who the thugs are. They know who the shooters are. They know who the gangsters are. They know who the troublemakers are in every city in America. If they're walking the streets, that's because he's part of the plan. If a lot of them working with the cops and working with law enforcement, their job is to provide general havoc. Their job is to provide general havoc, keep property values depressed until somebody can come in and take it all for a song. He'll be their excuse for why they moved everybody out and then took everything for a song and gave it to a white developer, and away they go. Folks, you've seen this happening in Iraq now for the last 24 years. We've seen them doing that in Iraq now for the last 24 years. Come on now. Call from America Code 732. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Sherry for Georgetown. Texas.
All right, Sherry for Georgetown, and what's on your mind?
Good evening. I just wanted to add in, just like everybody is mentioning, you can see this happening, and it seems like every city now around the United States. And one thing about the gentleman from Florida, what he was saying, something I saw an article on this workforce tax credit that they're giving actually corporations. Now, just like Disney, I believe, what's his name, down in Texas around Austin, not Bill Gates, the other one, Elon Musk, and they gave this credit to Amazon where basically they seems like they don't want people to now own housing. And basically they're giving corporations this tax credit to build affordable housing, but it's actually a new plantation for everybody. So then you can get cheap housing by working for this job, this corporation. But when you fired or you don't want to do what they want you to do, then guess what? You got to move out in 30 days. And now they're backfilling with a lot of these, even, immigrants that they're calling, even with the bridge, the Francis Bridge, the Key Bridge down in Baltimore that actually got crashed into. Who was working on that bridge? So it wasn't actual Americans. So all of this seems like a backfill to get a workforce and a class where either you're going to pretty much do what they're telling you to do, or you're going to just be out in the street. So that's all I wanted to add.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. We appreciate that. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Brenda Starr, thank you very much for your support. Mark B, Najee, my man Daryl, I appreciate that as well here, and to everyone who has supported tonight's program. Also on the crowdfunding for 8 a.m., I want to thank you all for that as well here. Like I say, everybody else is not representing this conversation we're having here today. How is it that you can be living in major American cities and zero, not a one of your media personalities is having this conversation at all, but then telling you to get shut up and vote? Why the hell they ain't having this conversation with you first so that you can determine what you're actually voting for? And by the way, if you vote in 2024, so you can have a clear idea of what your expectations for 2028 should be and what should get done. And if it doesn't get done, we need to rethink some things. Why is it they never want to have this conversation then? Caller from area code 469, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Big Stomp from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, Big Storm. There's a name we hadn't heard in a minute. Tobias called in early this week, and now Big Storm. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, man, I just want to thank you for, your 360 degrees of analysis that empowers us, that lifts us up, and for you fighting and tongue wrestling with these bootlicks and sellouts. And, I want to co-sign with what you're talking about with Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas, my whole neighborhood has been taken over by illegals. Pleasant Grove, right over there, over there in Pleasant Grove. It is all, just mostly illegals now. Black folks used to have all that area from Pleasant Grove, South Dallas, Oak Cliff. Now, they're taking over South Dallas with all those gentrified homes. They already took over the Bishop Arts District. Oak Cliff is mostly illegals all north side of Oak Cliff.
Yeah. And that was sad because, like I said, that's my old stomping grounds there as well. And when I went through there and saw that, I'm like, yep. And that was the plan. By the way, notice the Dallas police gunning down both of them, John, the illegals walking through with no stress.
Right. And one more thing. I was working up in Sherman, Texas. Stayed up there for a little bit, and Sherman, Texas. Sherman's right there before you get into Oklahoma. Tyson plant was over there. I signed up, filled out an application, wanted to try to get on over there. They told me they was hiring or whatever, but they didn't hire me. I got a check in 2020. This is 2007 when I filled out the application. But they had a whole bus. They were busing in Filipinos over there in Tyson Chicken. And this is the plan. This plan is not new. With all these illegals coming in, all these illegal immigrants coming in, taking jobs, this is a real situation. We got to stay suited up and booted up. We have to stay intellectually ready. We have to stay on, burn up the couch. Burn up the couch. Ain't no more resting. We got to stay on point. Jason Black, I want to thank you for what you're doing for us, keeping us on point, tongue wrestling with these bootlicks and these sellouts. Keep up the good work, man.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight and checking in. Big Stomp. Hadn't heard from him in a minute, but dudes out there working, they trying to make ends meet. Look, folks, just like you got these drug coyotes who run drugs, man, we got coyotes in America. Their whole job is human trafficking. What? While they talking about Diddy, meanwhile, these folks is human trafficking. They're bringing in huge numbers of illegals. Their job is to put them to work. Like there's some form of demented, illegal, alien manpower temp service. Y'all, you got folks here, that's their job, is to bring in thousands of people to come work at these places under the table, working illegally. So they talk about the drug mules and the coyotes bringing in the mules for the drugs and whatnot. Ain't nobody talking about how these folks be bringing them in by the bus load. For those of you who see the agricultural places, man, they bring them in by the bus load. I'm talking about stack deep. It'll be literally 100 of them on one bus. And then you see 20 buses out there, man. That is what it is. And nobody is giving these businesses or the people who are engaging in this the RICO treatment. Meanwhile, we coming to pick up Diddy 10 years later. Please. Call from area code 907. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Jay? It's your boy Lorenzo from Anchorage.
All right, Lorenzo from Anchorage. And what's on your mind?
Not much. I just wanted to give you a shout out. I haven't spoken to you in a minute. Last time I spoke to you, I was down in Florida driving up the interstate. And I just wanted to let you know I made a contribution to 8 a.m. and I got everybody up here on board, too. So you should be able to see a whole lot of responses from that. That's all I wanted to say.
Glad to hear that, brother. Thank you very much for your support here tonight. I look forward to having your name on the documentary here. By the way, we're almost at 120. We are almost there. Who's going to put us over the top for tonight? We are almost there. Who's going to put us over the top for the night? Maybe we should call Roland Martin and see if he'll do that for you. Then again, he'd have to actually start protecting your interests. Don't look for that to happen. Caller from area code 619. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is David. I'm calling from San Diego.
All right, David from San Diego, and what's on your mind?
Actually, I grew up in Dallas, man, and I just recently came there for my mother's funeral. And man, I'm telling you, I knew that years ago. Friend and I, we gone through downtown Dallas, and you know how they built up downtown Dallas, and they built that expansion bridge across the freeway.
Yep.
And we said, man, they didn't build this for us. This is for somebody else, because they took over West Dallas probably about 20 years ago. Remember, they tore all the public housing down, and now that's all full of condos, and they put the hospital district over there now.
Everything in Dallas now is new construction or stuff that's only been there in the last decade or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the most part, most of the old stuff is gone. Now, let me go ahead and deal with something a little bit different here. When you talk about Oak Cliff,
there's nothing old down there.
well, when folks talk about Oak Cliff or you start getting closer to downtown and whatnot, people don't understand, like downtown off of Cesar Chavez and all that, once you get out of that downtown core off of Olive Street and all that, it's really a bunch of vacant lots. Now, that's the thing people don't know, like with Botham Jean, where he got murdered at. Across the damn street is a bunch of vacant concrete lots, and people don't understand that in downtown Dallas.
Where he got that apartment where he got killed at, that used to be the old Sears building.
Yeah.
they made an apartment building out of it. And because I didn't know that until my brother told me, oh, that's where Wealth and John got killed. I said, I used to work there.
Yeah, they renovated and then come gun you down.
Out.
And then everything else, there's just a bunch of vacant lots when you're heading towards the freeway and whatnot. You know,
exactly.
it's all vacant lots in there and whatnot. And it's been that way for years. So I don't know if they're just trying to preserve it that way for some other skullduggerous reason.
Nah,
but there's a bunch of
I
vacant lots down there. They're just concrete slabs
Yeah.
is all they are.
No, you're absolutely right. Now, I don't know if you remember. I don't know how long it's been since you've been over there, but they started with West Dallas, and now they have that Bishop Rocks district is just south of there, just on the other side of the bridge. Now, as you're coming down, that used to be a fairly nice neighborhood, but once you got down past like Illinois and Zang and that area down there, I don't know if you remember those streets, but that's kind of like just south of West Dallas. But man, Oak Cliff used to be that's where now if you remember, that's where all the white folks moved out of.
Yes.
And black folks moved into Oak Cliff. Now my mother bought a home that's down there off of Beckley, Sainer, down in that area right there. Now, man, I'm telling you, now check this out. They have the city I forgot the code enforcement folks. Dude, they drive around that neighborhood finding people all over the place trying to get people out of there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 24 hours a day, every day. Every day. I'm driving. In fact, I was going to go get coffee at the 7-Eleven in the morning, and here's a code enforcement guy pulling up next to me because my mom was getting all these notices about problems with her home. But that's what they're doing. They're doing the code. They got code enforcement working 7 days a week. In fact, this was probably 10 years ago. No, maybe more than that. About 15 years ago, they went and planted trees out on the island. We were like, what? and there was a white guy in the neighborhood, and that's something you never see in Oak Cliff. and the guy says, "Oh yeah, well they're planning on moving in this area."
Yeah,
they
they want to preserve that.
Ago, dude.
That Oak Cliff, like I said, they want to preserve that as a residential area there. So you're pretty much going to probably keep the houses and stuff like that. So they want to preserve that in that regard. But like I say, as far as the target group for ethnically cleansing, they've done that. The job is done. It's not on its way in Oak Cliff. The job is done in Oak Cliff. It's over.
No, because most of those homes over there are older folks, and most
they're older. They're small homes. They're not. These are not multi-million-dollar homes, and they're never going to be expensive. They're never going to be expensive houses. They're real old construction. So what you're really going to wait for is for them to fall over or whatever the case may be, and then you'll come pick those up in 50 years. So that's their long-term thing is Oak Cliff. Look for them to come for that in like 30 years. Look for that then.
And you're right about that. And you're right about that freeway, man. When I started seeing them build that freeway with the sound walls, I was like, wait a minute, man. this ain't for us, man. They're building this for somebody else, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy because you've seen what it was like before,
No, I mean, look, 630, 35, 75, 635.
Right.
So 35, 75, 635. Folks who live in Dallas, y'all all know. Those were your bellwether. The fact that they kept doing 635, then expanding it, then putting the inner lanes and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, the fix was in because they never stopped working on that. 35 and 75, okay, that was pretty much a wrap right there where it's concerned. That when those three right there let you know what's gonna happen.
They got 35 almost down to DeSoto now, man.
Yeah.
That's done, man. That's done already.
And that's what I'm saying. That gives ease of access. Folks are not looking at that. That's what I'm saying. Do you see what's happening on either side of that damn freeway heading down into DeSoto? Do you see what they're doing on either side of it there? They're putting up shopping plazas on either damn side.
Exactly. I mean, and as you go out, they have you're right, they're putting shopping plazas on either side of it because they got that Walmart right there, right off of Camp Wisdom Road. And the freeway goes right by that, and so it's crazy, man. I mean, they've never done that before. I'm not sure if the Redbird Mall is still there anymore, but it's probably that's an old, dilapidated thing now. But
it is.
But yeah, man,
this is all a part of the plan. This has always been the plan. They put it in motion decades ago, and now you're just seeing the final moves being put into place.
Right.
I'll let you have the
exactly.
last word.
You know, I had, yeah. Now I had, my friend and I was some college buddy of mine, and we were saying, man, it's as if they want to push everybody, all the black folks outside of Loop 12.
No, I mean, okay,
Get us out of there.
I guess you can say if you define moving you out of the state of Texas as moving you outside the loop, because you talking about where the airport is. I'm like, no, we can't let you go out to the airport because we putting Amazon in the warehouse out there. You can't go out to the airport. So we gotta keep going.
Yeah.
You gotta keep going.
Right.
The loop is still too close. You gotta keep going.
No, that.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, Loop 112. No. You still too close. No. You got to keep. No, we. That's for Amazon. They got their warehouses out there. They're building all that commercial district. That's the airport. Oh, that's the moneymaker. No. You got to keep going. Los Angeles. Let me remind you all about LA, y'all. Those Latinos, those white Latinos who were on the city council sitting up here talking trash about black folk. That's your people making the master plan for your city. You want to know why things are breaking down the way they are? Those were the folks who were sitting in office making the 20-year master plan for your city. No wonder you're behind the 8 ball. No wonder they bringing that thing straight up Crenshaw. No wonder they got you in Leimert Park. No wonder that's going down the way it is. They ain't running it through their neighborhoods like that. No, they got you in the crosshairs. It's all part of the plan, and then you get up in 20 years and wonder why a damn subway is coming up your street and nobody else's. Oh, because that was the plan 20 years ago. In some cases, you might not even been born when they were executing these moves. 20 years later, you look at where the hell the funding for this come from? Who planned this? Who mapped this out? Whole new subject. What the hell's going on here? Call from area code 984. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Leon Lawrence, man. I'm calling I don't even know what state I'm in. I drive truck, so I'm in Ohio.
Okay, Leon is in Ohio. What's on your mind?
I had a question about Raleigh, North Carolina. What do you know anything about the innovative and what's going on there?
Well, I mean, Raleigh, of course, has been blowing up and things like that in that area there. So you're going Raleigh, the Raleigh, Durham area. Now, I consider it to be pretty hood, to be totally honest with you. I mean, that's the only Hilton I've ever been in when niggas was fighting near the penthouse. So it's like, okay, this ain't my scene. So they kind of rough around the edges there, but no, there's a lot of development going on. And
90 seconds.
Look, whenever you're talking about your state capitals and things like that, there's always going to be development there in those regards. So, especially in the Carolinas, so that's ground zero. They're really trying to figure out how they want to redo the roads there. That's been a big thing that's been going on, is how to redo the roads and the infrastructure to accommodate what they want Raleigh to be. So that's one of the big things going on now. They're building new freeways through the Carolinas for all the Carolinas really got missed by the freeway project and the interstate acts back in the 50s. They only put like 1 or 2 through the whole states. Now they're building a bunch of them in the states as they're having this boom going on right now. So that's really one of the major things happening there.
Oh, okay. Because I want to buy land in Raleigh. I don't own no land yet, but I want to own land in Raleigh. And I think Raleigh a decent place from what I can see, but I don't know. Well, coming from black.
If you want to buy land anywhere, like I say, don't go in blind. Get a real estate, agent, somebody you trust. If you're going to do something commercial, you want to probably look into a feasibility study. Don't just go in blind. Don't just go buy something. If you're going to buy something, if you're going to go into real estate development, be a real estate developer. Have a plan. Have some foresight. Have some knowledge. You're going to have to spend money before you buy any land. That's a smart business person.
10 seconds.
If y'all are going to make moves, make sure you're making the right moves. So if you're going to go into that kind of thing, you want to have a team with you there. Some folks who, if you're going to a place like Raleigh, especially if you don't live there, you need somebody who does. They do that for a living, and they can give you all the information that you need to make sure that you're not making bad decisions.
Okay, I got one more. Memphis, Tennessee. What they gonna do with it? It seemed like it's just a zombified area, man.
That it's all part of the plan.
So vibrant.
It's all part of the plan. That is not. Remember Elvis Presley? No, they're not happy to see so many niggas there. That's all part of the plan in Memphis, Tennessee. That is all part of the plan. We've seen this everywhere we go. They tell you it's bombed out. It's a war zone. Nobody wants to be there. Remember, they said that 10 years ago about Detroit. Now they're telling you it's the most overvalued place in America right now. Okay, but these other folks, they've been building up all this damn time and they're buying up everything that's in sight. So if they're doing that, remember, they use gangs and crime as a way to hold the status quo of the real estate values until they want to move, until they want to swoop in and make their big move. So that's the reason you're seeing that.
Yeah, Memphis look bad, man.
And it will for a little while longer. For a little while longer it will, but you say Memphis looks bad. Okay, but hey, brother, what about right up the street in Germantown? Yikes. Oh, you didn't think Jason knew that. All right. By the way, what about right up the street there? Oh, now, isn't that interesting? Now, isn't that interesting to you? Now, how the hell can you be so close to it? On one side of the damn street, it's Mad Max, and on the other side of the street is Green Acres. Now, how did that happen?
These folks, they do what they want to do.
Okay, just recognize it's all part of the plan. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Folks, all I can say here is, what I just did with him, these other folk in your old black media, they can't do that. If we're going to chop it up about these places, hopefully you deal with somebody who's done enough traveling that they can sit here and talk about this stuff place by place, block by block. I'm not guessing my way through this. Yeah, that's in Memphis. You got a whole bunch of areas there right outside of Memphis. And by the way, they live in stress-free. It's not accidental. Not accidental at all. Yeah, when you really out here in these streets and you really do travel and you really can be bothered to remember and keep in mind how your people are living and what they seeing and what they doing, like everywhere they are, or as many places as you can remember. Yeah, we get comprehensive. Now we can have a real conversation. Caller from area code 727, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Chris from Tampa.
All right, Chris in Tampa, and what's on your mind?
I was in high school when 7 a.m. came out, so it's real cool to see you're kind of doubling back that way. I just had two quick questions. First one, if you're projecting out like 20 years, what would be like the target income that you think like younger folks should be targeting? And number two is, would you ever consider like starting a standalone channel for like specifically like nuts and bolts on economics? Because a lot of your ideas are really interesting.
Well, like I said, I've been doing this now going on over 15 years. So the real thing I want you all to get to is a point where you don't come here and do that. We've been doing this for over 15 years. You need to start putting it into practice. What scares you all is that you don't have the same financial cushion that your non-black counterparts have. Either because their parents didn't screw things off or they most likely stole all the wealth. So like I say, you feel like you have less of a cushion. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You do. And it's not fair. This isn't about fairness. This is about power. So we got to put you in a position where your economic situation is not so fragile that you can't make the moves you want to make. But what you cannot do, and now I'm answering your first question, is you cannot underestimate the gravity of the situation. Every person, especially if you're young people, you need to have the bidding for your income start at 6 figures. And that's where it needs to start. Because truth be told, in America today, $100,000 a year is working class. I didn't say middle class, I said working class. In every major city in America, $100,000 a year is working class. You ain't balling. Maybe when you get to 250, maybe you can breathe a little easier. But to be totally honest with you all, you ain't really set till you get to 100,000. And I'm talking about that. It starts there. You can't really make the moves you want to make. When you consider the fact that houses, the median price for houses today is $400,000. 20% is 800,000. I'm sorry, is 20% of that would be 80,000. So when you consider that, That's what your down payment needs to be. Then the cost of the home itself and stuff. I'm not just talking about just buying a house. Not that I'm saying you need to go out and go get that, but when you realize that, you ain't really gonna be able to make any moves till you get to six figures. To be totally honest, and that's just keeping up. That's not even getting ahead. That's just keeping up.
Right. Because that's what I was thinking. Like. Obviously, like 20 years from now, I expect houses probably to be like million-ish. Typical, probably like around $1 million. So I was thinking like target like ultimately 300,000.
Yeah, I mean it sounds outrageous at first until I show you that. By the way, there's 200 towns in California where median home price is $1 million. The state of Florida is right behind them. So, like I say, now if you live in Florida, you know that everybody usually talks about the Atlantic side and doesn't really talk about the Gulf side. The Gulf side has always been neglected. It's like little old people. That's the way it's always been thought of. But ever since the Atlantic side has blown up because of Miami, now, I mean, that whole area on the Gulf side, all the way up and down the coast, the prices now reflect what you've been seeing on the Atlantic side all this time.
Yeah, because prices out here pretty much doubled. And obviously, like if you're in Tampa, like in like the inner four neighborhoods, it's like pretty crazy.
No, you all saw prices double within. That's what I'm saying. When Brady came down there, you all saw prices double within a decade. Before the decade was over, you saw prices double literally within 5 to 6 years. Literally. How are you now? Your income isn't doubling in 5 years, but yeah, the value of the homes and stuff like that before you can move out in the market, it's like, oh, I was gonna move out this apartment. Oh, wait a minute. Now they just doubled. The values are doubled, and everybody trying to get their equity out of the game. Yeah, I mean you're behind before you even left the gate, and that's Tampa. We're not talking about West Palm Beach, the Keys, Miami, Orlando, Clearwater. We ain't even talking about that. We're talking about Tampa. Tampa, who has never been able to hang its hat on anything, and now it's right there with the rest of them.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it is. So, thank you for listening to you. I was a little more prepared. I mean, I'm a security analyst, so I'm able to kind of keep up. But like a lot of my friends from high school, like a lot of them are homeless or they're like, barely getting by. So I definitely think we got to make get serious, because I don't think they understand like what's going to happen here, and that like Tampa's basically going to be like LA minimum, maybe potentially like San Francisco eventually.
Yeah, Los Angeles, no, that's going to be Miami or Orlando. So no, Tampa's never really going to have that. San Francisco, yeah, think more that direction, which, by the way, is not an improvement, but yeah, think that direction for I can see Tampa becoming like San Francisco. Only it's going to be different because, I say that from a different standpoint there. Let me retract that. Maybe more like San Diego. But between Jacksonville Beach and Tampa, look for those two to be in some ways similar to San Francisco and San Diego. Now, I don't think the prices are going to sky quite so quickly, because Florida tends to be very volatile. So whenever the real estate markets tend to correct, they always overbuild in Florida, and when the real estate prices correct, Florida takes a nosedive. So look for that to happen in Florida. Actually, that's going to happen again. Then they'll recover. But definitely, I mean, I wouldn't say Los Angeles, but it's not going to be a whole lot better when you compare it to San Diego or San Francisco. That's not a whole lot better. Well, Jason, what's the difference? I don't see Tampa having the congestion that a Los Angeles would. That's the only good sign. That's the only good thing I have to tell you. I don't think you're going to have the congestion issues of a Los Angeles. You're going to be more like San Francisco. And that's where the good news stops.
Right. Right. So, yeah, so I'm definitely still listening, contributing on the project. But yeah, so would you ever start a channel like that, or are you more so like, I know you touch on like the subject on this channel and on like your other channels. So
yeah, I mean, here's my thing. I want to be very clear with you all. There's not a whole lot to say in that regard, which is why I touch on them when they're necessary. And I've been doing it for 15 years. I have a whole archive of it. And I have my documentary films that go really in depth on that. So if you're missing those, that's where you're really missing out, especially 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is going to be further off in the woods than anything else I've ever done. I'm going to be able to get more in detail with it. But the real thing is, at a certain point, you got to stop studying and stop with the having the theoretical and the academic and start putting it into practice. That's the thing I really need y'all to do, because you can talk until you're 90 years old and never actually make a move. You're not going to learn watching YouTube videos. You're not going to learn playing me every single day. You're going to learn when you get out there in them streets and start making moves. If you're trying to do it without making any mistakes whatsoever, number one, that's impossible. But number two, that's not really the point either. You're going to want to really do that. Also, by the way, in the chat room, they're right. If you're not a member of my Patreon for my other YouTube channel, The Business, that might be something you want to take a look into there, because I do deal with things, what you're talking about there. Now, that's where I do that kind of thing at. Usually on The Business, but I don't, usually on The Business on Patreon, but I want to deal with folks who are going to be serious and are actually going to use it. Because if all I'm going to do is talk to people and it just becomes another form of entertainment for them, that's a waste of their time and mine. So if you haven't been to my other YouTube channel, The Business, you want to check that out. And there's a link to the Patreon in there as well. So that would definitely be worth your while. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Like I say, at some point, you got to get past the theoretical and get into the practical. It's scary, but it's necessary. Caller from area code 412. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Larry from Pittsburgh. How are you, brother?
All right, Larry from Pittsburgh. What's on your mind?
Bro, everything you said is true. I'm a chauffeur, okay? So I drive around pretty much the eastern seaboard, and I see gentrification everywhere, particularly here in Pittsburgh. People here, a lot of black people don't know where 25% of the 22 as of 2020 percent of the population. They act like they don't know what's going on. The one thing I am seeing a lot of is these Hispanic people. I don't know if they're illegal, but they're up here. They've been coming up here in droves since a little bit after COVID, right? So all the white boys up here are grumbling that they're taking their jobs, because the only time you see them is like when they're doing roofing and landscaping, all right? Anybody out there that thinks it's not going, and like Pittsburgh money is a little bit different than everybody else's, but the prices here are going up. They're trying to, they are gentrifying the neighborhoods, and they're trying to move all the black people to a section called the Mon Valley. So that's like Duquesne, West Mifflin, and McKeesport. Okay, I talked to somebody, this was a couple years ago, and this plan has been in effect for 25 years. Okay. And, we have a black mayor. I don't know what he's doing, to be honest. Ed Gainey, I don't know what he's doing.
You know exactly what he's doing. If nothing's happening for black folk, he's doing his job. What them folk put in there.
I mean, I know, but it's just, it's pathetic. So anybody who doesn't want to go vote for the Democrats, I mean, what can they say? What can they say? I mean, you can't use the love of Jesus against us or the wrath of God, because it ain't working, bro. We out here starving. Like, truth be told, like you was just talking to the other gentleman about $100,000 is working class. That is true. Okay, if you're not clocking 100, $150, 200 grand, like you're struggling out here in these streets, and that's if you play it, by the book.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh is always, for better or worse, rightly or wrongly, Pittsburgh has always been, kind of, just considered to be the stepchild there to Philadelphia. Philadelphia always gets all the big press and everything and all the attention. And a lot of folks don't think about Pittsburgh in that kind of way there. So maybe Pittsburgh has not had the same leaps and bounds that we've seen in other areas out there, but that actually is more of a concern, because it's one thing if you're in a city that gets a lot of press because a lot of attention goes on. So the more attention that a place gets, particularly nationally, the less swiftly certain things can move, because folks can galvanize quicker because it's in the spotlight. Pittsburgh is one of those places that's not really in the spotlight like that. Not like Philadelphia is. And so you can get some more dirty stuff done there when you can fly below the radar. So places like Minneapolis, Seattle, Pittsburgh, these places that tend to fly below the radar, especially if you got another bigger city somewhere around, or a city that gets more press somewhere around. Yeah, you can get all kinds of little dirty things done. While everybody got their attention on Philadelphia, you can get all kinds of things done in a place like Pittsburgh.
Oh, and listen, man, it's going down because these Hispanics, right? They're moving them to the south part of Pittsburgh, and kind of like to the West End part, right? So you got these white people, because they've actually had some racial attacks against them. It was on the news for a hot minute, then they covered it up, right? And I do talk, to white people around here, right? They ain't feeling that, because they already mad that there's a bunch of Indians here. They're already mad because, you have people from the Middle East. And then, also, too, you got, a lot of Asians here because of CMU, because, they bringing them in, because most of them are Koreans, right? So they bring them here to go to CMU, and they kind of set them up. So, they hang here, and some stay, some go home, all right? But you see it here all the time. Gentrification, the influx of new immigrants, black mayor not doing nothing for black people. Oh, it's here, bro.
Well, like I say, the whole reason why I'm doing tonight's program here is this idea that our responsibility is just to shut up and vote. That's what got us in this mess. The idea that a black face in a high place, well, don't worry, they're going to look out for us. Shut up and vote, and I'll kiss my ass. We going to speak up and speak out. We're not shutting up anymore and doing anything. That's not, because it would be different if the folks telling us shut up were at least speaking for us. We wouldn't have to say anything if the people telling us shut up were speaking for us. They just telling us shut up and take whatever in the hell you get. And I'm like, nah, that day is over. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Shout out to my man, Mr. Palmer here on 8 a.m. So I see you there, Mr. Palmer. Thank you very much for your support tonight. We appreciate that. Brothers and sisters from around the world, we ain't shutting up no more. We're not shutting up anymore. We're not being quiet. Yes, we're going to make noise. Yes, we're going to cause trouble. Yes, we're going to make things difficult. You damn right. Yes, we are. As Mario Sevilla said in his famous The Gears speech there, we are going to do everything we can. If we run out of stuff, we're going to throw our bodies and whatever else into the gears of the machine to show you that if the machine will not work in our interest, it will not be allowed to work at all. But we are not going to just sit back and be quiet and follow orders, especially from a bunch of incompetent, not even would-be commanders. No, we're not following orders anymore. How dare you tell us just shut up and vote? Get ready to get knocked off your high horse. And in Roland's case, that's going to be very painful. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. Thank you to everyone who has contributed to 8 a.m. here tonight, as well as Super Chat or Venmo, but especially on 8 a.m. It'll be well worth your while. I'm honored by your support here. We have 3 days left for that crowdfunding. We have 3 days left, so if you're listening to this live or recorded, now's the time. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, and some days in between there. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m. Gentrified Race Wars, soon to be 8 a.m. And to support that one, we have the link in the description of the video for our crowdfunding for it. I can't wait to bring that out to you. I can't wait to see your name next to mine in the credits for it. And as always, it has been my honor and my privilege to serve as your voice, because remember, I'm just the messenger. All of you are the message that I came to bring. And the message that I came to bring them is, we ain't shutting up. Not now, not ever. We're not going to be voting, and we're not going to be shutting up either. We'll be making the rules from here on in. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.